Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Mount Mindset. I'm your host, Gio McNee, and I've got Coach Crossar back in the hot seat. He is back from his fitness adventures. One of the ones that we did recently was the Cycling Paradise event hosted by Thomas Martinez. So we're going to cover off what happened and what was the story of the 10 chocolate milks. We're going to cover off what it's like to be a father with a fitness-orientated family. Did that happen overnight? Was it by happenstance, or was some decisions that were made in the process that created that environment? Why an environment for success? There is an environment that you can create along with a lot of great people that can be a breeding ground for success. We're going to discuss how you can identify what they are and why some of the things that you can spot in life, they're subtle, but they're powerful. And if you spot these things, we're going to go over how you can recognise them so that when you're in your little world doing your little thing, you can pinpoint them and you can see them for yourself. Be around better people. Remember, you're the grand sum of the 5 people that you hang around with the most. So make sure you're choosing that wisely. And if in life you're faced with a decision, there is moments in your life where it can go one way or go the other. If that resistance there, remember it's for everyone. Choose the resistance, lean into it, because you'll be amazed at where it can go. So without further ado, let's dive right in and let's get stuck into the show. How are you feeling post Cycling Paradise?
I was thinking about that running this morning. Running's so much better.
I think so.
I don't know, Scott's, listen to this one, Scott's floating the idea of doing a full-on Ironman, but he wants to do like one of the, I don't know what they call it, but there's like the 10 hardest Ironman courses around the world. He wants to do Switzerland. I think Switzerland's like in the top 5. I'm sure he said New York, and I was like, why New York? But he fancies doing an Ironman, and that's where I was like, oh, you know what? I'm not massively off it. Speaking to you about it, saying it's just the swimming. If I had to do a full-on swim, I want to get in a pool for that sort of stuff, but that'll be the next time I pick up a bike again.
Right.
I'm scarred. I wouldn't say scarred. The legs were they were actually all right. That day three was a bit broken. Was that after?
What was your expectations going into it, and like how different was it compared to what?
Well,
really
expectations going in, I was thinking, right, we'll hire a moped. You've got all these wee attachments to put on cars and vans and that sort of stuff. And then when we got there, I was like, I'm not even fucking cycling, man. They're all too fast. And joking aside, it was, you know what, I didn't know what to expect because I've never done any sort of, out with the high rock stuff, which is a wee bit different because it's in a venue. Not done like a fitness type bout in a different country, a different side of the world. And cycling is still fairly new to me, so it was weird. It was such a weird concept.
For people that don't know, your style is you really naively throw yourself into things. Like you have this sort of the arrogance of youth where you go, "I'll be fine," and it's never going to be fine.
That's never fine.
Like, and you seem to be taking increasingly more difficult challenges where it is really obvious that it's not going to be fine. And it seemed like you had a bit of that leading up into Cycling Paradise.
But I was thrown off cycling completely by doing that 85 mile. So when we done the ETAP.
So give people a breakdown of what happened to you. Like, so you.
So I don't know what this came about. It was your 40th, and the guys that I was obviously sitting next to Smythe and Simon, and they're talking about Simon was away doing like a 200 miler, and then you guys had the Inverness. Was that the first one? Is that what that was called? Inverness ETAP. And they were like, it was 65 miles. And I was like, 65 miles? Like, that was where there was blind arrogance going into it. I was like, I could do that on a bike. I cycle 4 miles up to... I can cycle 4 miles from my house to the gym and home. I can do a 65 miler. That was actually a good experience because I went out on the bike for the first time during the week, during that next week with you. And we done...
So for people who don't get this, you've never been on a road bike at this point.
I've done a mountain bike.
You've been on a mountain bike. You've done like 5, 6, 7, 10 miles, like nothing major. You hear at the weekend before we were going to do this event, some chit chat at my party, and you think I could do that. So the week before the event, we got you out during the week.
Let's go for it. And I got you out. They get out twice. Mm-hmm. Must have been out on the Tuesday or the Monday then. And that was good. I really enjoyed that. But then again, there's that whole, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, I'm doing pretty well here. And you guys are like, it's not as if you have went out and pushed like a hard cycle. We went out Thursday. Legs were quite sore actually. After that first one, we went out Thursday, and then we had the actual race on Saturday. And I think when it's all new, you're driven by, well, your dopamine, it's motivation, it's fun.
Yeah.
So like that whole experience of that day, like it was hard.
We enjoyed the shakedown
It was
as well,
really good.
because the shakedown before it, we went out on the Saturday, we got up there.
It was good.
It was a bit of an eventful weekend.
It was funny because there's all that part of the vlogs and stuff that I still need to put up, but there was that much content recorded from what should have been
We had
a drive up to
we
Inverness.
we had a weekend that if you hadn't recorded it, you would have
wouldn't
told something,
believe
you wouldn't have believed it.
I know. So we need to get. I'll get my finger out and get that done before we go away. But I spent tons of time van breaking down and all sorts. But the shakedown run, that was the back half of the course, wasn't it? Which again wasn't bad. I was like, I quite enjoy this. This is good. Done the event. It wasn't the best of days, if I remember right. It was quite rainy and that sort of stuff, but I like that.
Yep.
I really like that. So I'm like, you just imagine yourself, like, you hear the like life shit and all that, you're cycling, you're like, yeah, it's my comeback story type of thing to get you through it. Not everything's all fine, but you're just you're making it bad the situation. But that was quite cool. Tried to stay with groups, couldn't get that down, and I thought, right, if I can stick with groups, I can do.
So
I
people
could go faster.
for the non-cyclist, the idea is when you set off and there's a big event, there's lots of people that ride in a bunch, and if you're in a bunch, you get a bit of a reprieve from the wind, because the people at the front of the group are pushing the air out the way, similar to if you have ever seen some of the race cars and they draft. And the idea is there's an aerodynamic benefit of being behind in the racing it would be a vehicle, and in the cycling it's the cyclist at the front. So if you can stick in a group, you can move faster and the group can work together. So the advantage when you're at an event is that if you can get in a group and you can start to do a bit of the work, and you can also get a bit of recovery, and you can go a lot faster than what you would do as if you were doing it yourself. So that's the whole idea, but you weren't finding that easy.
No, there was, but also when we went out in the rides, the Tuesday and the Thursday before doing that first race, you had mentioned like try and stay on the wheel, and I struggled even with the likes of you and Smythe that time we went out. So yeah, I was in groups, and then it was always when we got to hills, I was like, that's too slow. Like, so then I found myself overtaking, and then find myself my own, and that group just gone by. So that was one of them. I was like, if I do this again, I'm going to stick with the group, even if it's slower at some bits, because it probably over the average of the whole race, they're probably finishing quicker if I find the right group. So that was, what was the goal for that one again? Was that the 3 hour one? What was your time on that one? 2:30. No, Greg done two. Your goal was 3 hours.
I was wanting to go under 3 hours 30. Greg was wanting to go under the 3 hours.
Right, and what did you say to me? Under 4 then? Was that what it was?
You wanted to go under 4.
So you said under 4's a good time. So in my head, I'm thinking, right, I know roughly where I need to be pacing wise. Like, I'll just, the mileage, what's my time? That was the one with that was the first like long steep climb. That was quite, I actually enjoyed that. Like when you're right in the hole, everybody else is in the hole and just heavy breathing. So I got up that in 38 minutes or whatever it was. And then at the top, I think Smythe must have been like waiting for me, or he was just waiting at the top. And he's like, Dale, and I was like, I'm not stopping. I was like, I want to get this done now. So I remember that taking out me. But finishing that one, I was like, that was quite good. I enjoyed that. However, the second one, didn't enjoy that one at all.
So a couple of weeks later, we'd booked the Inverness,
I don't know why I done that one.
The Caledonia.
No idea why. I can't remember what the reason behind it was.
I think Smythe probably planted the seed.
Think so?
Yeah.
Because at that point it was like,
so the backdrop leading up to this is that it was like, hey, I was going to Portugal. So I'd been in Portugal between the two events. So between Inverness and the Pitlochry, which is the Etap Caledonia, I'd been to Portugal and was really unwell. And I remember feeling a bit I wasn't 100% at the Inverness. Like I felt something was hanging on me, but just so I was like, right, get the head down and get through it, like just typical boyish fashion, like just suck it up and get it done. But I remember in the morning, I was like, I don't feel myself.
Nah, you can tell.
And I was like, oh, and I like, right, just suck it up. You'll be fine once you get going. And in fairness, like I don't feel my usual kind of powerful self, but I was like, I can get it done. I'll get it knocked out. Went to Portugal and I was full like
Flatlined.
really like the sickest I've been in as far as I can
First
remember.
deal day.
It was first deal. It only took me 15 years to need it. I got a good solid block of 15 years without needing to deload.
It's good going. That's your body crying out to you at that point now, isn't it? It's your body saying, right, the kids said we're unwell and that sort of thing, so it was obviously something.
I think Stacey's dad was unwell, and then George was unwell, and then whatever they had, I'd caught, and it just lined up with bang in the middle of the cycling event. So I went to Portugal, and I was going back at the end of the month, and I think we had the discussion about you coming out, and I think that is what led to, hey, well, we'll get some miles in at the Caledonia, which was a different course, a different type of parkour. So the elevation and profile was very different to Inverness. And you were thinking, well, it's only an extra 20 miles.
Yeah, the 20 miles, I felt every mile, felt every metre. I felt every one of my ages throughout that one as well. I was like, what is going on here? And I think there's a part of that, though. The last time I cycled was 2-3 weeks prior to that. So I didn't do, I think, did I might have got out once? I can't remember if I did or not. But again, that whole experience in that day, like it was a great day, beautiful scenes. And I was really trying to like enjoy the scenery, but I was like, there was a part where I was halfway through and I was like, I just want this done. Like you said, fuck the scenery, fuck the views.
That famous line for the very first cycling paradise.
Fuck the views.
Thomas has came up in this beautiful location and you come on to see it. And it's just a hard climb. And he's like, take a look at the scenery and they're beautiful. I'm like, fuck the views. I don't care.
So that was me in Pitlochry. But we were going up a hill and it wasn't exactly that steep. Don't know what the gradient or anything was, but I'm giving it like a fair whack effort. Everybody's just cruising by me and I'm thinking to myself, what is going on? So a part of that was mentality as well, because if you're in a group of racing or a group of guys who are all racing, men and women actually, and they're flying by you, it's like this hit to your ego each time. You just think, man, I'm really falling behind here. Got a second wind.
You're really shit.
Like you don't really shit.
You think you're having a hard time. We are having a hard time, and then you think, but at least I'm doing okay. And then everybody that passes you, you look at them and go, I should be better than you.
Yeah.
I must be way shit.
I was catching nobody. I was not overtaking anyone. And then there was a group that came by and I managed to hold. This is what I was thinking from the previous one. I was like, if I can hold on to them, like regardless if I want to go fast, let me just hold this. I ended up catching Steve at one point. But then I had to come away because I didn't understand what was happening with the brakes. It just needed tightening up. Because it must have been really annoying for them, just that constant turn. But I got a second win on that race because there was a 50 miler race, was it, as well as the 85?
The funny thing with the ETAP is that they have different distances, so you can do I think you can do a 40, a 55 and an 85. So the 40 signs are all around the course.
Yeah.
And they're different colours. So if you're doing the 40 mile, you turn left. If you're going the 55 mile, go straight, and if you're doing the 85 mile, go right. And they're all signposted.
So that's where I was overtaking people and I was getting like a second wind. There's something to be said about your mentality towards that, because it's like you're falling back and it's just you genuinely feel every part of that distance. Feeling for that one, I think that's where I'm trying to get a bit better at that.
When you're suffering, right, what's your style? Because there's like people that like people being around them and to talk and to take their mind off it. And the other end of the scale is like, I don't want you to speak to me. I don't need anybody here. Where are you at?
I'm not a big motivational chat guy. Like, see someone running next to me or cycling next to me saying, come on, you've got this. But it's like, nah, it doesn't really do it for me. Probably more solo.
I don't mind if you're there. I just don't want you to talk.
Yeah, it's like I'm
dealing with this. I don't want.
just let me.
I want to be here in my own thoughts, working out how to get through this. I don't need to hear, like, I don't need
Different
idle
piece of
chit chat.
aye.
I don't mind if you're there,
Yep.
but don't
So
talk to me.
I'm probably more on that side of things. But yeah, that one, that was a sore one. And what made this one worse was I seen a sign that said, I swear I read 10 miles to go. And I'm cycling, I'm looking down, and I think I'm looking at my watch. I don't know if I had the reading or whatever it was. I'm thinking, it's like, we must be coming up to finishing this. And you know, you've got rough bearings of where you are, even if you've never done a course. But you know, if this finishes back at the finish line's behind me. Why am I still going
Why
west?
am I going further out?
Why am I going west? And then I passed a sign that said 15 miles to go. That broke me, because in my head I was set on, right, I must be coming up with a 5 mile sign to go.
So you've read the wrong sign.
I think it was 20 miles. At 20 miles to go, I read, and then I passed a sign maybe an hour and a half in that said 15 miles to go, and I was like, I can't. I was like, I can't do this. That was quite a hard one because the trail was quite rough at that part. So when you turn round on yourself, and it was just it was there.
What do you say to yourself when you're trying to get through it? What's going on in your head?
I need to train for things. so this is what's going. I was out a run this morning. I was thinking about this, but there is a like, why do we do these hard bouts of whether it's fitness related? In fact, most of them that I've done, in fact, that's what I gravitate towards. It's a fitnessy type style, whether it's the run or the biking or whatever. My reason for doing that was do something hard that you've never done before. I checked that box in the 65 miler. The 85 miler was where it becomes like, there's a fine line when does this become stupid because you've had no training. That to me was probably the part that was like, right, it's getting a bit ridiculous.
Your preparation, so like the fact that you'd been out a couple of times, so you rode the bike
Done the
3
concept
times.
too.
You rode the bike 3 times, but you'd done the Monday, the Thursday, and then the Saturday shakedown, and then you rode on Sunday. So you're
Sounds
actually
like a
getting
primer.
miles in your legs.
Yeah.
That's a good primer for what you're doing. And then you never rode the bike at all until
It was a hard
and
one.
you went
Yeah,
straight
yeah.
into the 85. And there's a lot to be said for just getting your body into rhythm. They always say you need 3 rides in before you can go and take on a big, like you can start to push, because it's getting that body back in rhythm.
Yeah. So yeah, that when we had finished that, I was glad for that to be done. And I was like, right, cool. Can't I see me doing the bike stuff again anymore? And then there's also, we had to chat about Portugal and that sort of stuff. And I was like, you know what, we'll come out, we'll shoot content and all that. And obviously that went to shit, but apart from the vlog stuff, I was like, right, cool. And in my head, I was thinking, right, I'll do a wee bit of cycling. But in my head, I was thinking, cycling paradise, like there'll be hard challenges with it, but surely it won't be like race style stuff. And obviously for you guys, like you're doing training rides, there's hard hills there, different terrain, the heat, all that sort of stuff factored in. Didn't even think about that. But after day one, I'm like, whoa, it's gonna be really hard.
And day one was the easy day.
I know. Day one was the easiest day, and I'm
day
thinking,
one was like boys, will get the bikes built. So to give people a bit of context, the idea is that you go out for a training week, you're seeing loads of these beautiful sceneries, you can go, and it's this sort of like mixture between a holiday, seeing places that you've never seen before, and being out in beautiful roads, and also getting a really good solid block of training in.
Yep.
Because your entire day is about cycling for 5 days or 4 days, and that's the sort of idea, and it's a great concept. And the first day we'd flew in, so it was a really early morning flight.
it was a long day.
They had picked you up maybe at 3:30 in the morning. We got to the airport, flew over to Portugal. It's Port Lisbon airport's one of the worst to try and get through for passport control. And then we pack the bags. Thomas picks us up. We go all the way to the hotel, and it's like, right, let's unpack. And we took the bikes with us, so they're in bike boxes. We need to then reassemble the bikes. And then we went out a shakedown ride, which was we'll go out and we'll just sort of get the legs spinning, check the bikes, just a systems check. Let's just check everything's operational before we go for the big day. And that was the day. And it's like, that day's supposed to be relatively easy. And you were like, oh no.
I was at the house and I'm like, this is an easy hill. So yeah, like also you've got a bit of like this something new and all that sort of stuff. So again, you're motivated, like, this is great. But then that wears off, and then the true endurance or the fitness or the fatigue in the legs start to show through.
Yeah.
So day 2, day 3 was a big day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was big Mount Junto.
Big Junto.
Yeah, big Junto. But yeah, like that first day going out, I was like, never been to Portugal at all. So I was like, this is a nice way of seeing a different country.
It is.
I think especially see when you're tied to what does the typical holiday look like for most people with family, or if it's with friends, it's usually tied around drinking and going from bar to bar and place to place. And I've sort of distanced myself from all that sort of stuff now. Like last time I was out early last year, and it's not a lifestyle I want to go back to. Like I much rather do something fitness orientated. I know we always joke about the High Rocks, but I thought that's quite a cool way going to a new country. You're competing at this venue and you can walk about and doing
Do you know
sightseeing.
the High Rocks, like how the name came about?
And Mikey sent me it.
He sent you?
Aye.
Hybrid rock star.
Aye, so it's a joke, isn't it? You can talk about that.
That's gone in the podcast. That's gone in. That's in there.
Hybrid rock star.
You're a rock star. It's like that HR advert.
Well, it's not even. It's not hybrid though. I don't know why they've thought of that, because all it is it's just an endurance sport.
Is it an endurance sport though?
It's
now
no strength.
You've done what really.
Aye, but this is my point. It's
an hour. It's an hour and a half.
It's a workout. It's generally just a.
Like, we're not beating up. Like if you're going hard at it, like if you're going hard at it,
it's competitive levels
it's
and
very,
everything.
like, you need a decent amount of fitness. But I would say it's not an endurance event. Like it's not that difficult to get through.
The ones that they do well at it are the really good runners.
Yeah.
They obviously need an element of strength, but I seen a post the other day where someone saying it's a great blend of strength and endurance and output, and I was like, it's not though.
I think it's predominantly running with a hint of weightlifting and a morsel of endurance.
It's barely weightlifting because you push a slide and pull a slide. I'd probably say it's the hardest bits that catch people up, and even at the pro weights, and it can be challenging, but the challenge isn't from the sled; it's from knowing that you have to run and hold a pace. So, but I
rode out 90 minutes last night flat out, and I didn't even drink one bottle of fluid, and I'm like, this isn't like, I wouldn't class this as, I've had a really hard day out. Like it was a good spin about in the bike.
Yeah, it's all tolerances, though, isn't it?
But I mean, I wouldn't go like it's not like being in the hole for 8 hours.
Aye, that's the.
It's not that.
But I don't know what's. It must just be fitness as a whole just now. Marathons used to be like the ultimate, the gold standard of what people went after, and people are like, nah, fuck that. That's too easy because too many people are doing it now. It's like, where can we go beyond that? And same with, in a way, with like the cycling side of things. I don't know if it's just when you turn 30 and you're in your 30s, it's like you get hit with Ironman and running ads, and all you want to do is start cycling, swimming, and running.
I think the marketing department must know that these guys are making enough money to buy our shit.
They're like, right, there's our target audience. You're like, oh, okay. And then,
Lise, you're making signs of breaking free the rat race. We've got a new game for you to play with.
Like, it can be expensive.
Do you want a 15 grand bike?
How did you get into cycling again?
So I was always.
Did you do an Ironman?
No,
is that what it was?
No, I got into cycling first. So I done the gym all my life. The lockdowns happened, and all the gyms were shut. It was a really, really ridiculous time where gyms were shut but takeaway places were open. You could get a Just Eat voucher for following government guidelines, but you couldn't do health and fitness.
Oh yeah, you were getting discounts, weren't you?
And parks were closed. So if you took the wee jabby, they would give you a 50 quid voucher for Just Eat, but God forbid you go near a gym.
Yeah, even in the house, you're almost banned from travelling 20 miles. Was it?
I made a point. You couldn't go out your council area. I made a point of going out to as many council areas as I could.
See if they could get catchy.
Aye, I was even talking to police. Like I went through 7. I'd cycled through 7 council areas. So I mean, I wasn't even close. Like if the guy went, "Where do you live?"
You're like, mate, ML.
You're going to need to take me far, far, far away home.
What do you mean ML?
I reckon he'd have went, "Sound mate, make your own way back."
So lockdown then.
Lockdown came, and my pal John, he had done he was a multiple-time Ironman finisher. He met his pals; they'd all done Ironman, so they liked to go out cycling. And I'd said to him, I think I can't remember who it was, but it was maybe Smythe. Smythe had went out and rode the cycle track so really flat to Edinburgh and back. And he was like, "Oh, it was a wild day." I thought, that's quite good. I'll get a bike. So I asked John if he had a bike that I could borrow, not knowing at all. Like, I came from the whole, like, you had a mountain bike, it was 200 quid.
Aye, that was
you know, like 200 quid. Surely you can get a bike for like 200, 300 quid. 300 quid tops.
Aye.
Oh, little did I
Maxed
know.
it.
And he's like, he gave me one of his bikes, and like, I don't know how much the bike would have been, but it'd have definitely been more than 200 quid. And it was his, like, you know, old bike that he never used. And I was like, right, okay. So I got a shot of that, and then
Did you weigh in the shoes and the cleats and all that?
aye, because he said to me, like what he said to me at the time. So he says, these clip-ins are really hard, and I'm like, just tell me how to do it. And he's like, well, you push your foot in and the pedal will clip. And I'm like, right. And he's like, you can't get your foot out. He's like, how do you get your foot out? He's like, just turn your heel. And he's like, go against the wall and then get a stool and then clip in, and you hold yourself in and practice. I was like, that sounds absolutely ridiculous. Just tell me how to do it. And I have never, literally never had a problem with a cleat in my life. And I'm like, how is it possible that you can get this wrong? It's like, so I clip in, good, and then I just click and it goes out. I've never had an issue, never fell, nothing. Smythe, on the other hand, the first time he got clip-in shoes, it was like we needed VAR. Like, he'd fell over that many times. People like, penalty. He'd come at a set of traffic lights and he would literally just tip over, couldn't get out the cleats. So it's a common thing when people get into road cycling, and I had so little fitness. John says there's a loop round his where he lives, and he calls it round the block. It's a 4-mile loop. I didn't get 2 miles. I had to stop. My heart rate was. I just stopped. I was like, I am absolutely.
How heavy were you back then?
About 200 kilos.
Double.
The gym was shut. It was barbecue. It was barbecues every day and drinking, and that's when I realised I'm stopping all of this. Because it was getting out of hand. Like, I was like, this is bad. This is no good for you.
So probably with the cycling then is probably why I understand why you've got maybe a love to it then, because it probably did save you from that life.
It's a weird way, because what happened was I was going out and I hadn't really made the decision at the time to stop drinking, and I would say that I'd never ever said I'm never drinking again. I just thought I'm going to stop this until I get good at this. And what was happening is I was going out and I was realising that the fresher that I was, the better I was getting. And then I would go out with guys who were really good, and then they would really suffer when they drank, and you could smell the drink off them. And I'm like, nah. And what the good thing about this and how it really encouraged me to give up the drinking is, when you drink, the temptation is, well, it's what you do. It's the weekend feel. It's the good vibes. Like, if anybody, like, I always enjoyed, hey, it's coming close to the weekend. We can have it's excitement. It's a buzz, and that drinking is part of it. And you get that wee buzz and that good feeling, and it's like social, and it's fun, and you're like, yes. And then because I had something else to do, I just found it really easy. It was like, well, I've got an event. Like, I booked the very first one I done was the 85 mile ETAP, the very first event that I did, and it was like, right, I know I'm going to train for this. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to see how fit I can get, and I want to do a big cycle, because the whole idea is they're talking about these Ironmans, they're talking about these huge distances, and I'm like, I can't get round the block. So I thought, let me book an event and let me work it, let me work up to it, and that was the plan, and I just found it such an easy transition. People like, are you coming out? Or like, we went to Smythe's wedding. I was like, nah, I'm not drinking, because I literally went to Smythe's wedding, left at 1 o'clock, left at 1 a.m, got up at 3 a.m, I drove up to Pitlochry, rode the very first event, it was the 85 mile ETAP, and then drove back home and myself, and I was like, I felt really, really good, and I thought, this is a new world. Oh, there's something more than this drinking culture, this getting, drunk, and, the weekend is all about, getting bevied. And I thought, oh, I like this. And then what that led into, well, at the weekends, I'm going to go and train, and I'm going to get in shape. What event am I working? And you would always put something in the diary. And it was such an easy transition to, that's not part of my life anymore. Because I think what happens is when people stop, when they stop something that whether it be alcohol or drugs or smoking or gambling, whatever it is that's their vice, they're taking away something that they enjoy, whether it's bad or not. They're taking away something that they enjoy, and then they've nothing to replace it with. And the reason that I found it so easy was I'd already had the replacement lined up. I just didn't know it yet.
Yeah.
And this replacement was making me feel better, and I was getting fitter, and I was getting in shape, and it gave me something to like. And that's really, because the backdrop was a really difficult time, like COVID, and the information that was coming out, you didn't believe. Like this whole sham that was taking place was a total sham, and you started to have there was a lot of negativity and mistrust, and there was a lot of doubt about what you were being told.
It zapped your brain if you watched the news.
Yeah.
Like, you just felt really beat up.
Yeah,
and
people like, so the news. There was all these celebrities coming out, and like what happened was, if you were paying attention, basically anything that came out in media were all parroting the same thing and hitting you with the same thing. And it was so scripted that you realised that, oh, look, this isn't your opinion, you're being paid to say this. And then what you realised was people were getting shut down in social media, any dissenting views were getting shut down, and it was basically turning into Orwell 1984, which was, unless you toe the line of what we were saying, you're not getting a voice. So to find something to get away from that, what I was doing was, when you're cycling, you're going out, and as you've seen, the scenery, it's beautiful. Fresh air, you're in nature, you're in the sunshine, you're in the daylight, even if you're not going to get sunshine all the time in Scotland, but you're in daylight, so you start to feel good, and you're away from all that. And as you're getting better and as you're improving, and it's just like when I took you out, it's like, come on, we'll go and stop somewhere and we'll get something to eat.
It's like
what an enjoyable experience.
Much more sociable experience as well.
And it's great to see people like yourself that are new to it, and it's like, hey, I'll show you the ropes, and then seeing the quick development where you start to improve, and you're like, man, that feels really good. And it's not only good for you to see how well you progressed, but it was also good because I know exactly what that feels like. I know exactly how that feels.
Went through it.
And it's that whole thing where you start to go, I quite like this. And it was a really easy transition. And I think, especially for where I was in my life, you know, my wife certainly didn't have any complaints about me improving. It improved my business relationships, improved my friendships, improved. The only friendships that I lost were people that I had friendships with because of a drinking culture. And the group of friends developed and strengthened that were into the same sort of things. And it helps when you can back each other, because when you've got a group of friends, like we've got a whole core of us that cycles, Greg, Steve, Smythe, he sort of comes in and out when he suits it suits him. You know, and a few other guys that, and even if you're not cycling with guys that are cyclists like Simon and things like that, you can chat, and you're talking about events, and you're talking about what's coming up, and you're asking about how their training was going, and you're like, what was it like today? And that was a good buzz. So you were getting this energy and this social aspect that you would have previously got from like bars and clubs and that type of thing. But you had none of the hangover, none of the like negative, depressing, blue, rough, tired feeling. What we were coming out with was energized and euphoric and a buzz, and like, hey, I mean, this is cool. Where do we go next? And it was like, let's go to more places and let's explore, because we're just big kids. Yeah. It's like, hey, come on, we'll get a ferry to like the Isle of Arran, we'll ride round it. Like, come on then.
But it's things that you would probably never see yourself doing as well. And I think that's another part of the reward. Yeah. Because even the day after, like, it's not hangover, it's such like, oh, my legs are sore, and it's like, oh, you must have no energy the next day. Yeah. It doesn't make sense, but it is the opposite. Yep. It's like you'll have more energy because you've accomplished something that I think deeply rooted into you know it's good for you.
Yeah. Your body's responding. Your body's saying, hey, we're built to move. Yeah, they're built to move, and those endorphins start to kick in. And even things like, if you imagine what the traditional culture would be, weekend, your man goes out, he's rough, he's tired, he can't be bothered with the kids, can't be bothered with you. You know, that's a low vibrational energy. Like that frequency in that house is low, and
what happens like with the
and then look at
relationships
kids.
And
look at kids. It's like, what kind of? And I took that really seriously. Like when I was looking at what I was like before with alcohol and drinking. I mean, in terms of culture, people would have went like, that's normal. But I was really, you know, really quite sort of. Disappointed in how I would have been as a father figure. I'm like, I'm not doing that. And then it's the things like climbing the mountains, riding the bikes, taking part in events. You know, like I've got medals all over my office for like just, you know, and they don't signify anything other than you showed up and you done something It's not necessarily that you did a particular thing in a particular time. It's you made a decision to do something that was good,
Then you
and that's
committed
a
to it.
chalking it up on the wall. And it's these things where you can, when you're a dad and your boys are ultra, because kids have got so much energy, and I can go out and ride a bike for 5, 6, 7 hours and come home and play with the kids, go out and take them, you want to go out for dinner, and I'm fresh. And I look at that, if I juxtapose that against what I was like if I'd been out the night before, there's no chance I'd have been able to do that. There's no chance I'd have been able to do something for an hour, never mind 7 hours, never mind go out and...
See with your example there as well, it's quite funny because George is obviously right into the gym, Stace goes to the gym, Ted's interested in it. Do you think all that would have happened if you didn't make that change?
No.
It's crazy, isn't it? No. That little decision.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I think that we're a product of an environment. And like, I thought to myself, like, there's I think Jim Rohn was the first one that said it, and I think Dan Peña's mentioned it, and he says that you're the grand sum total of the 5 people that you hang around with the most. And that really means that who you surround yourself with and what environment you're in will dictate how your life becomes. And I think that if my family were around, they would have had no choice to be around me making decisions that weren't as productive as the ones that I made. And I think the benefit in making those better decisions and those better choices was a massive shift in how easy that, like, they're getting the encouragement, they're seeing me do it. They're like, I'm not just telling them. You know, when you get a parent and the parent struggles and they say, just do what I tell you. And it's the whole, you know, do what I say, not do what I do. Well, it's like, why don't we flip the switch? Why don't you lead? Why don't you do what you're telling them?
Every leadership book explains that. It's like, not just pointing the finger to say do, it's like show. Yeah. Like, there's no better experience or shift in motivation than someone's behaviour if you see someone leading.
You look at like George at 12 years old. I think I said this in my previous podcast. And I remember when I started getting him in the gym, and I make a joke of it every time that we're away, that I never get peace, because, you know, as the dad, Dad, can you do this? Dad, can you do that? Dad, do you want to go and swim? Dad, you want to jump in the sea? You know, Dad. And I love it. Like, it's great. It's a phenomenal thing to be, but you make light of it. Like, I've never got a minute. And when I was in the Maldives, I've got the granny bike and riding on the island as fast as I can. You know, it's just boy stuff. Yeah. And like when I made a joke about, you know, it's 6 o'clock at night and all I want to do is like go back to the room and chill, but I'm walking to the gym.
He was like, bitch, we're hitting arms.
And George is like, we've got a sick pump to get before you think about chilling. And that's it. It's like, and it started from the Maldives, because when George started training, and because he was 11 at the time, I needed to go down. It's not like he could walk into the gym. So it was that whole thing, can we get him in the gym first of all? And I remember coming up for the. I was just, do you know when when you get like the second or the third day of the holiday and you like everything's caught up in you, and you're like, I could just go and lie down and just have a wee cheeky sleep, right? And I remember coming back up, I was like, I cannot wait to get a wee nap here. This would be magic. And it was just one of the warm, muggy days that zap the energy out of you, and you go back to an air conditioned room, and you're like, this is yes. Nice. And George is like, Dad.
You're like, I know what's coming.
Yes, George. You want to go to the gym? And it was that split second I thought, if I respond with how I feel, it's a no. I don't want to go to the gym. Truth be told, I don't. I really, really, really don't. And I you know, when you think about things and it seems like it's way longer that you've thought about them, and the outside world, it's instant. And I'm thinking to myself, this is a fucking moment here. This is a moment where you decide how things go. And I thought, no. I was like, get up and go. I was like, right, come on then. And then we went down to the gym, and I couldn't be bothered. I'm going down the lift, and I'm like, can't be fucked with this. Like, and I think I said to him, I was like, George, I train all the time. Like, I was hoping to get a bit of a break, but I'm doing this for you. And we went in, we sneaked in, and there was nobody there, and we started training. And after like a set or two, I'm in the rhythm, because I'm in the environment, and it's about being in the right environment. And I remember thinking to myself, fucking really glad that I made a really good call. Now, George would have loved me to bits, and I'd have still been his hero, whether I made that decision or not. Yeah. But
It's a
that's the
breaking
things
character.
in life where you don't know that path. And if you look at him now, he's training in he's off for summer holidays. We've got him a membership down at the gym that we train at. I train with Dell, who's an ex-IFBB pro bodybuilder, huge, ultra talented, been around all the top names in bodybuilding, an absolute master in the gym at, angles and techniques and tips. And then George is doing his posing in the posing room. He's in a fully kitted out, incredible gym down at Levels, and he's around people that are pushing him, and he's thriving. You imagine the energy at 12, what that'd have felt like.
I know, it'll be a superpower to him.
Oh,
Especially in a
imagine
gym like
going,
that.
imagine a puzzle, what are you doing this summer? I'm fucking spending the whole summer in a gym with big, massive dudes. So I'm like, come on, wee man. We're posing and we're training and we're hitting legs and we're hitting chest. At 12 years old, can you imagine how that would have
I
felt?
know he's got a very strong passion and love for it. But it's good to get him. It's good that he's got a membership there as well. Like that's
very,
such
very
a cool,
cool.
very cool experience. Cause
And we were talking to Calvin down there, and Dell, we had Dell, and Dell was taking the pictures of George and Ricardo posing, and we had pictures from about 6 months ago when we were down at JP's, and Dell was comparing the pictures, and he's like, the things that he can see, and he points them out to you, and you're like, I don't know how you spotted that. I've never noticed that. He's really got an art. A real art for it, and a
I
real
would call
eye
it the
for it.
bodybuilding eye. I remember speaking to Andy Scott about this because for the likes of me and you, it's like, right, I can see they're leaner, and then that's as long as it's not his right delt is higher than the left delt.
Yeah.
Tweak this, tweak that. Look at it now.
Well, we compared the pictures, and Dell was like, you look at George and like he's like 16, 17 years old, and Calvin, who competes, Dell had showed him the pictures, and he's like, have a look at this, and Calvin's like, fuck me. And he's like, Dell's like, what age do you think he is? He's like, 16, 17. He's like, he's 12. Calvin's like, you have got to be shitting me.
It's wild.
And this is what I'm saying, is that's the environment that he's in all summer. And you go, what a place, like in terms of, like, you talk about toxic masculinity, that's fucking masculinity right there. That's real, proper masculinity.
Shut the doors.
Just get, like, that is where you thrive, and you get strong.
You know when you hear somebody's story, like, is George showing interest in the bodybuilding competing side of things?
Oh, big time.
I
would go on a stage right now.
So bright future ahead.
He's not keen on the fake tan, but
aye, but like, I don't think anybody is, but he get over that part. But he'll be one of these guys that has a ton of success with that. But it'll go back to that story that like how did you start? Yeah. It's like, I was in a gym at 12. So how did you get into a gym at 12? But again, it's all a byproduct way. One little, like, there's a catalyst to multiple different reasons why that will happen, but a decision of giving up something that's zapping your energy, like alcohol, or whether it is any of these other vices, that can make the drastic change in other areas of your life.
Would you just look at the sequence of events as you've got a new gym, you've got, it's predominantly young, hungry entrepreneurs, bodybuilders that are doing it, that have people that are members that are ex-IFBB pros, guys that are training hard, that are competing, that are podcasting, putting powerful messages out there, and you've got in that group of people, there's a 12-year-old that looks so fucking advanced, and it's like, how could you possibly want to stifle this? And look at that, like, that is the sphere of magnetism that we create, where we go, like, I always say, be careful always be your best, because you don't know who you're inspiring, you don't know who's looking up to you. And it's these little decisions that you can make where that gym could go, no, you know, it's not really the right fit. And it's like, well, he's going to be with us, and he's not going to be like a teen running around just clanking weights and that sort of stuff. He's going to be nurtured and taken care of by us. Like, we're going to nurture him and make sure he develops and he becomes the best man that he can become. And we are going to take him under our wing. And we're going to show him all the tips, all the tricks, all the techniques. We're going to be there for him. We're going to push him. We're going to, be there to do the negatives. We're going to be there to do the force reps. We're going to tell him to back off if he's pushing too much. And it's all these wee things where it takes a particular type of group of people to be there, and a particular type of young man, or as a young man now, he's grown into that, to have the desire for it. And it takes a particular dad and group of friends that go, look, we're doing this. And then it takes a particular group of people that that run a gym and go, we're like that effect is no wonder talent and success breeds in that. Like if you were to create an environment where success is bred, that would be the environment. That's how I always say it's powerful around, it's a powerful the message that you give out, and it's powerful that you need to not only talk the talk but walk the walk.
Yeah.
Like, and these, like that is, you can be congruent, because what happens is when you're saying something and you're doing something, people don't question you. They're like, you've got it. And the more people that you can get around with that congruent feeling, it's a breeding ground for success.
Yeah. I used to always worry with kids growing up and becoming a parent, like, what's it going to be like when they get to high school and that sort of stuff? Because you think back to our experiences, like, the wrong group of friends can really change. Like, I had groups of friends that I had in primary, and then we went to high school and they hung about with different people just because of the class they were in, because where they sat in a seat with their second name, they became part of the smoker crowd, etc., etc. I used to really worry about that type of environment, but I remember asking George in one of the climbs, I was like, how's high school going? And he was not that he had a defence mechanism, but he was already like, that part of his brain of being wavered by that. It's like, no, I've found something I love. Like, they all want to drink and vape and all that. I'm not interested in that. So I want to hit weights. I want to look after myself. I want to like strengthen my mind and all that. And I'm like, you're 11. I think actually, he was like, you're 11 saying this sort of stuff. And it's great to see.
Like, and look where it started. Back when I was drinking, you know, George would have been five, maybe 6, and then you look at, that's what I mean is that the choices that I've made, well, if I hadn't made those choices, there would have been worse choices that would have had impact on him. By not making those choices, that isn't in his view now.
Yeah. And
then the better choices that I make, the more good choices that I make, the better he now has as a kind of marker where he goes, no, I don't want to do it. I don't, like, these are the things I want to do. I want to train, I want to improve, I want to get better, I want to talk, you know, we talk about the mind, we talk about his mindset, you know, and even the football. I mean, he moved teams.
Yeah, I saw that in school. Did he get man of the match?
He showed up first. He's done two training sessions, so that the team doesn't know, like, they're still figuring each other out. It's usual, what position you're in, where are you going to play, how do you fit in with the team, all that sort of stuff. And they played the team that was the winners of the league, or the top team in the league from the previous the season that just finished. So they played a friendly against them, and I mean, it was amazing to see it. You know, when you watch it,
was it?
It was a different caliber, a different level of football. But do you know when the other team were doing really well and scoring against Georgie's team? You actually had admiration, because you're like, that was really good football. Like, there was no negativity. Like, see when they scored, it was like, that was a fucking awesome goal, man. That was really, like, you nearly want to clap for them. That was really good.
Oh, wait, wrong side.
Like, well done, boys. And like, even there was a parent next to me, and he was like, fucking, that was really good football there. And I was like, it was. And it's a pleasure to see young boys getting into that sort of thing. And I remember in the second half, they kind of figured out where to put George, and then he just scores 4 goals in the second half, and it was like, like, welcome, and he just fit in. It wasn't like there was no doubt or fear or any, like, you know, what if, and it's a new team. He was just like, well, you know,
play your skill.
He was wanting to score. He's like, I want to score today, and that was the thing. And then he put 4 away. So he'd scored 4, brought the match back for a draw. A really good game for both the teams, and he was man of the match, his first game. So what a way to land. And he thinks, well, that's just normal. Like, that's normal to him. And that's normal to him because of the environment he's in and what he's around and who he's around, and he's been nurtured. And that's what I mean, is this is how you nurture success.
I think fitness to me is like, we said this a couple of times, I think it's the catalyst that creates that, like the development part of your mind, to have something that you're getting after and something that you're working towards, whether it's you fail some days, you win some days, or just micro adversities every single day.
The cool thing about fitness is that it doesn't matter how fucking shit you are, you can start somewhere. Like, wherever your start is, you can start.
Entry point at any point.
It's like when you make that decision and you make that commitment, It's like, guess what? This is your start line. And this is your start line. And you can move off of here and you can start to improve. And whatever that is to you is good.
Yeah.
And it's not, you might have fucked it. You might be a fucking fat mess. You might be like obese. You might be shit. And whatever you've done, that's the line. Like, you've drew a line there and you've made the commitment to start. And that, whatever you do for now is good. So and when you start to get that momentum, you start to get those wins, you get this swirling effect of positivity where you're like, well, if, like, say you were really fucking fat, like a mess, huge, obese, like a fucking tank, your entire arse could take up a corner seat of a couch.
Like yours.
Like mine. And maybe when I started cycling, I think the saddle just fucking disappeared. But imagine that you're a fucking mess and you go and you start, and then you see, you go out and you get a wee win, and then you start to look at your cupboard and you go, maybe I should get something healthy. And then that leads in, and it's this spiral effect where it spirals up the way and you get this positive momentum. And I think it's phenomenal to see that fitness is like that. And and what you alluded to was really powerful, is the psychological part of.
That's the biggest one of everything that I can say that I've done. Like, yes, if I gained muscle, if I got leaner for shows that I've done in the past or done events, my performance improved. But see, actually the mental one, like, you don't realise how much that has affected your life until you're met with decisions like George asking you to go somewhere and you're like, I really can't be back. Really, really cannot be. I
still remember, Dale, because I was looking at a bag of Maltesers. Like, they fucking Maltesers look good.
That's like, right,
you know, you get the mini fridge in the room, and they were nice and cold. I was like, they look magic. Nice, and I remember him going, Dad, and I still remember vividly him asking, and these Maltesers, I fucking put them in the fridge. And like, come on. And it's the moments.
But it's that's like where you gain a bit of resilience to go, right, I'm gonna do that. Met with multiple others, being a dad, etc., etc.
And this is the cool thing about, like, what the message you want to get to people is, like, right, look, see all these people that are fucking ripped and big, you know, whether they're muscular, whether they're lean, whether they're fit, whether they're strong. Like, you might look at them and think it's just easy for them. Like, they face the same resistance that you're facing.
That's a byproduct.
Like, they're facing the resistance. So see if you're feeling the resistance. It's about you leaning into it and getting over it. It's not about, oh, I feel this resistance, so I should fucking quit. It's like, no, don't quit. Get up and actually push into it. You know, and I was talking about how, like, talking back with cycling, like, last couple of weekends ago on that 200-mile ride, I was in the fucking hole for, I don't know how long 50 miles they've been, but at least 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's just
2.5 hours of
everything.
total fucking suffering. Like, I was suffering like a fucking dog. I mean, I just thought, and it's the points where you're like, I said it on the podcast, the inner bitch was like, it wasn't going against me. It was like asking me, like, right, how are you going to get through this? It was like it came to the other side of the fence. Like, right, what? It was trying to reason. It's like, right, if we're going to do it, how?
how do we physically finish this?
The other bitch was sort. It wasn't like, oh, you should stop. It's it's sort of knew better. It's like, it doesn't matter what we tell you, you're not going to stop. So, like, what are we going to do here?
It's crazy, the mindset, like that dark part of your mind. One thing I've realised this morning running, more so because we're doing a bit more training for the West Island Way. So obviously I'm notorious for going, I'll just throw myself with that, which we spoke about with the cycling. Start of the year, done 100k. And I was thinking, remember you asked me and we done a podcast, like, what did I learn in that? And I was like, I guess, like, holding true to my word was one of the biggest lessons. But I was thinking, I think it was because I was playing an audiobook this morning and the guy said something that's really interesting. But I think one of the reasons I never got as much of a win from that, not a win, but achieving 100 kilometres, 100 kilo bench, like, it was something I said I wanted to do and I'd done it. Took away that, but everything you would expect that there'd be more, I don't know, more discipline, more motivation to move on to the next thing. I never got any of that, and I think about one of the biggest reasons for that is because there was no journey to it. It was sort of a spur of the moment. I'm going to do this next week. Let's get it done. Yeah. Same with the cycling, and then this time when I'm out these long runs that, in fairness, I've only just started, but this was the second one, and in my head I was like, right, I need to do an extra half an hour on what we've done last week. We've done 2.5 hours. Yeah. I need to do 3 hours of running. I've never done 3 hours of running until it was the 100k. And I'm running, I'm like, man, your mind goes to weird places because I'm thinking, it's raining. And I'm in there, I was like, right, jacket, rain jacket on. It's like, oh, you've not brought enough fuel with you. Maybe you should just turn back. Your feet are wet. I was like, there's Gio, when you message, Gio wants to podcast, maybe you should just go back early. Like, all these things are coming into your mind, and they get worse and worse the closer you get to the actual time that you like. So I wanted to run for 3 hours. When I was 2 hours in, the thoughts were getting worse and worse and worse. It was like, nah, like, just walk the rest of it. And then I was getting closer and closer. And I was, you don't have fuel. Maybe you should stop. You should take the easy way out. And I was thinking, this is everything that I've missed out on the lead up to that 100k challenge. It's not the challenge itself. It's not about the medal. It's not about the trophies. That's a testament. Okay, yes, you've done it. But the true value in growth, whether it's growth mindset or growth in your performance, is the training that you put in. And also we're talking about cycling paradise again. I think a lot of that was just the experience.
Yeah.
More would have been won from that if it was like, right, okay. But don't get me wrong, my performance definitely improved because I had a competition like that had 12 minutes of biking. I was like, my legs are stronger, which you would expect from 4 days of back-to-back cycling.
It's amazing how quickly you get good.
Yeah. So that was out of all the fitnessy things I've done, lifting weights, running, cycling. Cycling's one of them that you running and cycling. It's one of the things that you think I can never do that much distance. You do a wee bit, and then the next day you're instantaneously better, or the week after. Like, endurance is such a weird one that you think, I can, like, running particularly is a very common thing. So I can never run that distance. It's like, well, you can. And that was one of the reasons I've done the 100k. The woman that couldn't walk into the gym, she was like, it was easy for you. And I was like, well, cool, it's not easy for me. It's like, well, I say running's not easy, and it's all to that the mental discipline. Like, your body is literally can do it, but it's the mind that's saying, just give up, just call it here. Like, an hour's a good time. Okay, you've done 15k, and you've only done 15k before this. Like, that's a good thing to just give up on.
So
it's that battle, it's the back and forth.
Son of a bitch trying to talk you into quitting.
I get into trying. So, this morning was
it was the weather at Crack Greg. That was the final nail in the straw for him. Was when the thunderstorm came and he was like, "Nah, checked out." He's like, "I'm done."
Too risky.
No, it wasn't risky. He just didn't want to be there. But it was that because see the thought process. I know because we all experience the same thing. Turn around. Why are you going this far? You know, like I get it. Like, and this is the thing is that the more times you face that inner bitch, the more familiar you become with inner bitch. So you can recognise the inner bitch like that, and then when somebody starts to say things, you're like, oh, I know what that is. And you go, I know, I fucking know that you're about to
nice try.
It's like, well, it's this and it's that, and the next thing he was just looking for any out, and I think he had 5 or 6 of them over the 50 miles. You know, I'm feeling great. Going to see how I feel. You know, had a few ciders last night. I'm feeling a bit rough. You know, I'm busy tomorrow. I'll maybe
it's going to go one or two ways for you and Greg. He's either going to turn his Strava off and go into like full on villain arc, like come back with an absolute bang. You're going to be like, what the fuck?
Aye.
But or it's going to be the other way.
That's what I'm saying is like, but it was like it was first. The funny thing we seen. Like I made a big thing of it. I always wanted to crack Greg, but I wanted to crack Greg physically. Like I wanted to.
Mentally, I knew I had it.
Like physically, I wanted him to suffer. So when he mentally cracked, I was like, it was like I always remember the movie when Heath Ledger was playing the Joker, and he was it the Dark Knight.
It was
the Dark Knight, and he in the movie, he's dressed up as the nurse, and he's went into the hospital, and he's talking to Harvey Dent. And Harvey's like having a go at him because he's basically psychotic. And he's like, do you know what I am? I'm like a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do if I caught one. And that was like me. I don't know what I'm going to do if I catch you.
It's like,
and that was me. I was like, what do I do now? And it was weird because it was like, no, I want you there and home. So it was a weird sort of situation, but it's the thing that you recognise is you recognise they're a bitch. And the thing that I think is cool is the more times you face it, the more times you know it, and the more times you get past it, you know that you can get through it because it's so convincing. Then a bitch is like, you've came this far. It's been an hour's good. And you start to buy into it. And it's that buying into it that keeps you in the comfort trap.
Yeah. But there was not one point throughout the Cycling Paradise trip where I thought, I'm not finishing this. Other than the 10 chocolate milks, that was touch and
So
go.
tell
at one
people
point.
about, like, so what was that, day 2?
It was the first, day 2.
Was it day 2?
Day 2, so the 100k we cycled. And don't get me wrong, my legs were like, they were in bits, and I was really looking forward to this toasty. And if you've not watched the YouTube video that Thomas Martinez done, it's a good YouTube video, but see, looking back at that, see the sandwich that I left, the toasty. Like me and Jill were watching, she was like, that's a really good fucking toasty list. And I was like, I know that, actually. I wish I could have that toasty right now.
It was amazing toasty.
I couldn't touch it. But yeah, we stopped at a cafe. I thought it was towards the end, but looking at the video, it must have been about 70k in then.
It was 70k in, so it's about the end. 30k is nothing.
So at this point, I'm like, right, cool, done. Then I'm really, really hungry, really, really thirsty. Got plenty of fuel and all that on me, but I'm really looking forward to this cafe stop. And I seen a chocolate milk in the fridge. And I'm sure the week before we left to come out to Portugal, I went over to get my hair cut, and I went across the road to a shop, and there was a can of, like, you seen that Nourishment chocolate milk? It's like in a can.
Right, I've not seen it. No.
So I seen it, and I've seen one of the guys I follow on social media. He's a powerlifter. He always drinks one before he squats. So I'm going to try one of them that just tasted so good. And I seen those chocolate milks in fridges, and that was the feeling of taste. I was like, I want one of them. And I was saying, did I get 2?
You didn't want one, you greedy shite.
No, I got 2. I got 2 of them. I was like, can I get 2? I was like, I'll have 2 of them. And I drank it. I was like, oh, that's so good. I can do 10 of them. And then you, typical boy fashion, is like, do you think you can do 10? I was like, yeah, I can do 10. Nobody's backing down at this point. There's only one answer. Get 10 chocolate
Martinez
milks.
actually says, so he was like, oh, he's not wasting any time getting them down his neck. So you're guzzling them down.
I'd fucking try to get it over with.
I could easily do 10 of them.
I think I got to 8, and I was like, oh.
And then Martinez was like, what? You think you could do, seriously, you could do 10 of them? Easy.
Yeah.
I was like, that's it, right?
It was 1700 calories of chocolate milk, and
it was 2.5 litres swishing about.
Less than, what was it, about 2 minutes? 90 seconds, maybe?
It's
pretty quick.
It was chaos.
And then 10 minutes, honestly, the 15 minutes after that was the worst 15 minutes I've ever experienced in my life, because I was in the toilet, it was coming out my arse, it was coming out my throat, it was coming out my nose. I was like, I cannot leave here. And see, when I stood up to walk to the toilet the first time, I thought I was like, I'm going to whitey all over this table. And now that way, if you're about to be sick, you're thinking to yourself, right, keep this down, get to the destination point. And I knew if I made eye contact with anyone, I was losing it. I was like, I'm not making this. And I walked into towards the toilet, and because a waiter was there, I had to turn back and then walk back in again just to keep my head locked in, so it wasn't nice. So I didn't think I was going to finish it then, but that was out of stupidity of drinking chocolate milk. No,
you actually sat down. I've never seen anybody look hungover on chocolate milk.
I know, that's what Jill said. It's just like, you look rough. I was like, I was fucking rough. 10 minutes after into riding, it was a wee bit better. It still kind of lingered, but it wasn't actually that bad.
You seem to get stronger as the ride
it was
went
that
on.
last hill climb.
I'm like, what's got in the hand? That must be
calories.
that's all the chocolate kicking in.
But yeah, like that's one of those things that I think over the course of the 4 days, it was, what was it, 50k, 100k, 135k, and then 100k. You've done a 50, but what was that for?
Probably 500k.
So like the volume wise, like in one bout, I never went out in any of those rides thinking you're not completing this. And I think that's like a testament to the training stuff I've done before, but not training for the actual bout that we're doing.
What about day 3, Junto?
That was one of them where like we were on the first gradient climb, and it was like, oh, this is a good climb, and I'm like, I'm struggling. I haven't even hit the hill yet, and I'm struggling. I had to take a gel to get down the hill. So, that's how my fueling strategy was like, right, take fuel to get you up, but you'll need fuel to pedal down this as well. So my legs were cooked at that point.
What about how easy Martinez looks?
Yeah, he's like,
he makes it look so easy.
It's crazy, but it's like one of those things. If you've done different fitness events, like there's always these. They're not even outliers. They've just put a lot of time into it, and you look at them and you're like, right, do I want to put that time in? Do I want to look that smooth when I ride the bike? But Junto was one of them, like I knew was going to be the hardest challenge, but everything that you do that's hard is all, like, you do feel good after it. Doesn't matter how hard it is.
Do you think that's because you've seen Jesus on the way
Aye,
up?
like there was a corner, I was like, there's that much sweat running down my face.
So there's a cross. There's a cross, like a
it's like a
religious cross in the corner on one of the bends.
He was talking to me. He's like, "What are you doing?"
Even Jesus is giving you help.
he's pushing up the back of the tire. But that was one that you think I could get up a hill, but that was one like I'm off the saddle, I'm in the lowest gear, and I'm pedaling, and it's like a step forward. I was thinking, do you stop? And again, you go through all this sort of stuff in your head. So I knew my legs felt strong enough for that part, but it was just never the heat as well. The heat was probably something that was very hard.
It was extremely warm because the hill that we were going up had tree cover either side of it, so it was like a rainforest in there. There's a black tarmac. The heat's radiating off there. I think it was about 35 degrees that day, and then there's greenhouse effect and this tree lined climb. And it was just savage. So you were either getting the sun beating in where there was no trees, or you were going into where essentially the humidity and heat was trapped by the heat radiating from the road underneath, and then the trees keeping that heat in. Yeah. So it was like cycling through an oven.
So I lost a lot of power after doing Junto. Like even for the rest of that day and the next day, like my legs, like they were. Like if you do the whole RPE scale out of 10, like I kid you not, they were an easy 7 before we even started riding, and then they went to an 8, and I was like, right, these should ease off. They weren't easing off. It was like 2 knives in your thighs. You can see it in the videos when they walk. But
what about your gutch?
That only just healed the other week there. That's been 4 or 5 weeks since. That was sore. But again, all conditioning into it. It's all part of it.
It was a long old day.
What was your favourite day?
Probably for training, probably Junto. I liked Junto, but the Arabida was good.
The ride out there was hard.
The Arabida was good. I liked the Arabida because it was very, very windy.
On the way out?
It was really windy.
Because I felt fast. I was like, I'm gunning it here. Because I'll let you guys, I had no choice.
Cheers for that.
I let you guys cycle ahead so I could hang back, but
we were going that fast, we were overtaking the cars.
I know.
The cars were going too slow.
I didn't know what to do because I was catching cars. I was like, did I go for this here? But then I'm thinking back to that race. It's like, I'm going to overtake this car and they're just going to overtake me again. That was that. I'd say scenery wise, the beach side of things. Where was that?
Arabida.
Is that whole place called that?
Arabida is the national park. I think it's that's the area. The area is called Arabida, which is on that sort of coastline. It's beautiful, and it's got that weird concrete factory right in the middle of this amazingly
old school Metal Gear Solid
it looks
plantation.
Like it's got a Metal Gear Solid / Terminator 2 fucking plantation right there. Yeah. So there's steel works, concrete works.
And then the hospital's around the corner as well.
It's crazy.
So weird.
And then this beautiful beach, and they climb up to and I was gunning for Paul. Because he came past me in the climb, and I managed to get my way back and was trying to sneak up on him.
So that was probably my favourite day scenery wise.
What about the area as well, like going out
to Portugal? It's beautiful. I wasn't expecting much of. I knew the scenery. I'd watched some of Thomas's videos, but videos don't do it justice. No. Like it's a shame because there's no. Like the scenery that you see there, you're like it's genuinely breathtaking, and you see it in a video, and you're like, it's cool. What's nice about that? Like you can kind of get the gist of it, but actually being in the environment, even going by all the wee tuk-tuk cars and like up through that windy bit, on the first day, up the cobblestones, and then you just get tons of terrain that you're exposed to in one place.
What about going out for the food afterwards?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Like
we had some good times.
The highlights generally are the like cafe stops as well, and it's just nice vibes, isn't it? It's a really nice place to be at. I know Portugal was never on my cards to like be a place to visit, and I didn't think it would be like a fitness hotspot for cycling, but it's quite a good cycling community over there as well. Then.
Yeah,
but because we passed a lot of people, and obviously Thomas, he lives out there.
What about the famous? Was it rhubarb cheesecake? What was that?
Oh, what was it?
Remember we went out that night.
That was funny. Steak. I can't even remember the name of the restaurant. Well, I think that just goes to show.
Jura Punta, I think it was called. Shithole restaurant.
Stay away from anything that looks corporate related. Always stick to the authentic local.
We had loads of good
places.
meals. That was only meal that we thought was
It's a
bit
funny
nice.
meal to be at.
How was it from your point of view?
It was hilarious. So, Paul, he must have he had a few Jack Daniels then, didn't he?
He went to the bar before we
He was
got
out
to
for-
dinner.
he was out for an hour or two.
He was animated.
He was funny.
He
That
was-
was the day of Junto, wasn't it? So all you wanted that night was like a good bit of scran, good bit of food, and he was disappointed with what he got. I had 2 steaks that night.
I had my
I had
steak.
yours because you can eat it.
I couldn't eat the steak.
And you sent your steak back, what, 3 times?
I'd
He was
said-
like, just leave it,
I
mate.
was like, mate, I says, look, I want it medium. I says, I could have run it under the cold tap and
It
been more
was
cooked
just-
than
it
it is. I
was
says,
raw.
this
It
is
was raw.
shite. And they kept bringing out chips. So by the time we got our steaks back, I think Parker had maybe had about 10 bowls of chips. And
So he's full.
he kept moaning about how shite the steak was, but eating it, like scooping it away. And then because he was making it known like he was not happy about the quality of the food. He was not happy about it at all, and they brought out a free dessert.
Which he said he didn't want in case he gets
In
poisoned.
case he get poisoned. And then he took the biggest scoop of fucking cheesecake I've ever seen a man take in his life. And he was quite impressed.
He
with
was
the
like,
cheesecake.
that's quite nice. This place isn't
This
bad.
is not too bad.
After going, this place is shit. I'll never be back.
So,
But I know, good. That tapas place was good.
that was good.
That was a funny night as
That
well.
was. We had a lot of good, that's the thing is that you go out and you have a right good time after it. So you think to yourself, you've been out. I mean, how long? You must have been about 8 hours that day for Junto.
Yeah, because what did your Strava say? Yours said something like,
I was 5 hours 40.
I think I was 8 hours 90.
You were
8 hours 40, sorry.
you were 8. Like
90.
you'd done a significant amount more time on the bike,
Mm-hmm.
which in itself, like, see, going out for that length of time on a bike is a hard all day.
Well, the longest I'd done was that ETAP as a sort of one-off.
Was it 5 hours?
I think so, yeah, just over.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's still good.
But yeah, it was like that whole. I think that's another thing as well. As much as it seems ridiculous to sign up to these things last minute, there is a stubbornness, but then there's a bit of confidence in, right, I've got some ability, and that could have been a whole different experience if you were like, right, we need to be here at this time, we need to stick to this pace, etc. But letting me just find my feet with my cycling pace and you guys waiting for me like a wee bit up or whatever at the top of
How
the hill.
did you feel about that? Like, did you like?
No, I to go back to your point, like when you're suffering, do you want people to be with you or not? And I was like, there's a part of me where some of your biggest growth or your biggest developments in your own mindset is in that time where you're in solitude or alone and you're thinking like what's going through your mind.
But it's that whole camaraderie. The guys are waiting you, and they're like, "Hey, come on, we'll see it through."
Yeah, so you get a bit of both, and that's how I like at the top. Now is like, right, when I make it to the top of this hill, the guys have been waiting. You're not getting off this bike to take a break. You're going for it, and that's how I was making the joke every time I came up. I was like, "He's all right. Let's go. Like back in the bike." But it was like there was struggle. I'm trying to think of that day.
The time that made me laugh was when you stopped at the cafe, and I knew you were suffering, and I knew you were suffering because you took your shoes off. I was like, "Why you got
It's
your
my
shoes off?"
feet,
It
my
was just
toes.
you're like, "I just need a bit of comfort.
I
I need anything."
I need to find. So that day I was 7 hours 32 minutes of cycling time. So that was a rough day. Even the day after was pretty long as well because that was 4 hours 43 for me. I think that must have been only about 3 hours because that day was, although it was the most the nicest scenic days, legs were
It was
really
warm.
holding on.
I remember it being really warm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember it, but I was like, "Man, it's fucking cooking here."
So you were mentioning signing up to things as well, which there is that kind of keeps you accountable to your training and all that sort of stuff. What are you doing next?
I've not got anything else. There's nothing else booked in
All
for the
by
rest
the
of the year.
wayside. You got something
No, I
booked?
mean, I'm keeping
What
my
are you
like I've been out. I've kept the training up because I'm in habit with that. But I would like something in the diary. Got nothing planned until September, so it's a good old gap. And then
Do the West Island Way with me in Scotland, middle of September.
it's one of the shitest ideas I've ever heard. I'll come and see you implode.
Nah, they're confident we'll smash this one.
Aye, but you've been confident after them, then you fucking unravelled.
But I'm training for this one.
Do you think you'll make it?
Aye.
I don't think you've got a fucking hope.
No, definitely will.
No chance.
Definitely will.
Who's just you and Scott?
I don't know if Gavin's going to try it. So I think no, he's not actually, because Scott was saying he's off it.
Right.
He's done his attempt and was like, nah, not for me.
Oh, no,
Like he's dealing with a pretty sore one, a sore injury.
Have you ran on the West Highland Way yet?
Mm-hmm.
Aye. What did you think of it?
It's all right. It's and I need to get probably better trail shoes, but it's one of those things. That cycle pass pretty good because you can run so far and then do like lily lock type thing, which is I don't know. Have you been up there recently? So they've put tons of stones down.
No.
So they put all these like rocky stones down, which is quite hard to run on. So it actually makes for good terrain for like training, and it's about 15k in as well.
Right.
And then you need to get home. So we'll do a bit of that. Very keen to do Tintle Hill because that's like
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
it's a good steep one to do. Is like maybe a couple of loops around it.
When you come up with a forfeit when you fail, like so if you get under 24 hours, I need to
Shave
do
my head, my
something.
beard.
It's too ball ahead, man.
I need to think of a forfeit for you. What would that be? You have to do a run. You have to do an Ironman. I'd love to see you get back into that. Why? So, when I think about cycling, is it something that I'm in a rush to do again? Not necessarily. Is it something I will do again? Yeah, probably. But you're like way off running. You're like, nah, not for me.
I've never enjoyed it. I've never went one run and thought I really enjoyed that, and I've done enough of it. Like
Did you though? Did you like have it planned?
I'd ran 5k every day for 30 days to prove it could be done. And then,
but that's again back to what I was doing. Chuck myself in. That's
I'd
there's
done
no
it and
proper
ran.
training.
But I'd ran it. It was like I'd ran, and then I'd done a couple of half marathons, and I'm like, this is shite. Like, do you know when it's like, I wasn't doing it. Like,
Can you run slow though? Because I think it's like if you're going all out on the bike all the time, it's shite.
No, but it's
like,
just
you need
shite.
to run
It's
slow.
literally running shite. See, when you've been cycling, you go, what the fuck am I doing here?
We've evolved as species to
It's not like
to run far.
Like, running is pish. Have you ever seen a runner that looks happy? I've never seen them.
I've not seen a biker that looks happy.
Aye,
See if you have to pick crowds of communities like to be a part of, the running community is better than the cycling community.
So.
Aye. And I guess it's just to do with, I don't know.
Right,
I feel like
right. See, running, it's high impact. Right, so you're fucking taking impact all the time. You've got blisters to contend with. You've got the fact that there's no cafe stops for a start. It's just shite.
You can make a cafe stop though. I was saying it's got to see
Who
the
wants
fish.
to sit in a cafe with a fucking runner? They stink. Right, they've got the short shorts.
Nah.
They hate themselves. They're sitting there with the fucking 6 foamish, running trainer on. And they're constantly staring at their Garmin. You know what I mean? They're just agitated.
Nah, like there's two extremes to both ends.
It's just shite. I mean, I've never even bought the idea of running being good. I don't even know.
Nah.
Like I've tried to get into the whole thing. Oh, this will be good. And every single one, I'm like, this is shite.
You know what that is?
It's just shite.
Do you know what it is? That's your inner bitch talking.
It's not even inner
Nah,
bitch.
that's your inner bitch talking.
The inner bitch doesn't.
Your inner bitch has your balls
The
by
inner
the
bitch
face.
doesn't even show up because she's like, the inner bitch is like, what the fuck is he doing here? I don't even need to chime in. What the fuck is he playing at?
That's your inner bitch.
But it's to what end? Like, I always think to myself, like, what is the point in what you're doing? Like, you're doing it for a reason. What is that reason? And any answer that I've got for running, I can't. It gets defeated with cycling.
You can't justify.
I can't justify it. It's like, right, I could get fitter. I could get fitter cycling a bike, and it's much more fun. Right, I could do a distance. I've done the distances and they're shite. Like I've thrown myself.
You've done a half marathon. That's nothing. You need to do an ultra. Get yourself chucked into like 100 miler.
But it's like that point of what you were doing with your 100Ks. Like, what fucking anticlimax do it get? It's like, to what end? Like, to say what? To went, wait, I've ran 50K. Like, I know, just like you, I know I could go and run 50K. would I feel any better or any fucking more masculine as a human being? No, I'd be like, what the fuck did I do that for? That's what I would come to be like,
dickhead.
what the fuck was the point in that?
That's how I feel with cycling. Who do you think's got the overall, like, who would you say could be considered as a fitter individual, a cyclist or a runner?
Depends on the level, like, so.
Like, let's say the average. Let's say the average.
I would say it's harder to get, like, it's easier to be slower on a bike than it is to be slower at running. And I think if you're going to get good at running, you need to learn to run slowly. So it's the slow building the base miles that just, I don't think are very much fun.
Either, but they're super bored, because that was me today.
Because you're fucking bored at your mind. It's like, it's the weird thing about running is you're not going far enough for the terrain to change. And if you do go far enough, you're fucking way out. And then you need like it's this weird kind of no man's land. And it's
that's what I was thinking to myself. I was like, I could jump on Black Ridge train. He has like see the train. I was like, I could get back to Drumgellic and then only need to run an hour and a half. That was thoughts that were going through my mind.
This is what I'm saying is like, it's that weird, like seeing the bike, when I go out on the bike and I've went out and I've felt awful within 5 miles. And then you get the fuel, and it's like you can be slow and like you can freewheel on the bike. So if you can get up over a hill, you just stop pedaling, you can fucking glide down. With running, you've not got that.
Aye.
It's just shite. It's like, so you've not been on we've been on the Concept 2. So if you're doing the Concept 2, you're pedaling the whole time, and it's very much like running. So it can be, indoor training can be difficult because you're sitting there and you just need to fucking hit this all the time. But when you're out on the bike, what's enjoyable is you can blow your fucking doors off going up a hill, and you just know that you're going to get the recovery down now. And then you can choose if you want to go fast or pedal or go harder. Like, so you've got so much flexibility. And see, we running, I'm like, this is just shit. Logically, I'm trying to make a case for running, and I just can't get there. Like, but I do get the benefits. It's like if you did run, and it'd definitely help your fitness and all that sort of stuff. But I know runners. And see like runners that do cycling, they all, like, a lot of these runners fall into cycling because they were injured. And you go, what happened? And they're like, this.
But that's also the same with cyclists and as a whole. We were talking about this, how you're a better cyclist because you lift weights at the same time. There's something to be said about that. I don't know what it is that endurance athletes seem to be dead anti lifting weights because they think it's the bodybuilders.
It's the weight. It's the whole idea with endurance sports is you want to get as powerful as you can and as light as you can. So going to the gym and training will put on weight, and putting on weight is bad. That's basically their thought process.
They're missing out so much. Injury prevention. Have you had an injury at all?
In fact, like, if you were to make a case, like say I didn't train in the gym, why would I make a case for running if cycling was my thing? Is I'd make a case for running because I would get bone density for the impact for running. And I think that'd be like, I think if you weren't training in the gym and you wanted to go and like build that like skeletal structure, running's a good way of doing it.
Like plyometrics, isn't it?
You would get that impact. It's that constant sort of impact that would build that bone density. So like cyclists,
though it shouldn't take away from lifting weights. So
I'm with you. I think there's so much more. Like, if the impact, like running will help your cardiovascular system, and it'll do some towards bone density, and it'll do some towards muscular endurance. But there is nothing that can compare to the range of things that you can do for developing power, to developing your fast twitch, slow twitch, lactate tolerance, all that sort of stuff that the gym is the creme de la creme. There is so much variety in what you can do. And now you can see, like, there's loads of the guys that do the Tour de France that are all got gym.
It's like, it has evolved. Like,
and they're going faster than ever.
Yeah.
Like, they're going faster than ever. And it's like, that's why you want to incorporate this into your repertoire. Because I've done the sequencey things that I've done is I've done cycling, I've done cycling and running, I've done just running, and then I've done cycling, and then I've done cycling in the gym. And the best combo was cycling in the gym. Like, and you know, because you've got Stravas, you can actually see your progress. So you can actually see how your numbers are looking. Like, am I getting better? Am I getting worse? Or even if, like, I've got a power meter on my bike, so I can see how much effort I've put out relative to my heart rate. So I'm tracking, like, is my output measured in is my output on power and measured in watts, and how much did that feel like an effort to me measured in heart rate? And what you're doing is you can see that your power's going up for the same heart rate, or your power's the same for a lower heart rate, and it's just easy to track. And when I was in the gym, it's like these two are the perfect mixture.
Yeah, for what you want to
and
achieve.
then running was weird, because running, I felt that I got fitter at running, but I didn't get any fitter on the bike. Like, I had bike fitness, and I got
You get 2 VO2 maxes anyway for a reason, don't
and
you?
you
So
got running fitness, and I was like,
Yeah.
nah, I'm not getting the same fucking boom here.
What would you sacrifice size to become more powerful on the bike, or less powerful on the bike for size?
Well, it's funny you say that, because I tried to sacrifice size for more power on the bike, and it didn't work.
I didn't. How?
No. I got down to, I dropped 15 kilos in body weight and got my power.
Was that after you had that flu though?
After what?
Yeah,
No, this was before.
Oh,
This is
right.
ages. So I done, I stopped the gym, got smaller, and my power went down. And I was like, and the power went down significantly, that the weight difference, the power to weight,
You need
the power to weight got lower. So when I was heavier, I was putting out more power to weight than I was.
Stick that
I was
back
like,
up.
this is like a tragic fucking decision here. And I remember thinking to myself, that's not worked. And I thought, oh, I'm going back to the gym. And I went back to the gym, and everything went through the roof.
Interesting.
And I was better. I was more powerful on a power to weight ratio basis, being a heavier body weight with much more power, than I was a lighter guy with a lower power, but my power to weight was even lower than being at the heavier weight.
Interesting.
And I was like, oh, that's not going to work. But the funny thing was, I got in good shape when I was running. Like, I lost a lot of body fat. I tightened up. My abs were through. Like,
Well, I think you need to. I think you can be like that video that Martinez done with you going up the hill and wearing the heavier weight and that. Like you said, it's high impact. So there is a bit where you do need to sacrifice size, and I think that's why it's very popular to be hybrid training. Be somewhat jacked and somewhat fit with your endurance is really the style of what's attracting a lot of people. Then mainly this will be actually a good topic for your bodybuilders chat tomorrow night, because a lot of the bodybuilder guys are starting to make their way where they've built the mass, they've built the lean tissue, and they're pivoting a little bit, because we spoke about this. The one thing they're missing, like, see if they've done a wee bit of like decent endurance, whether it was on a bike or a run, that will feel 10 times better, because having that much size and mass, like you heard it on the episode. Like,
it's how
heavy breathing.
efficient your cardio system becomes.
Yeah.
Like, your cardiovascular system. I don't know if you've noticed it with the things that you've done, but cycling for me was like, I noticed everything. Like, I talk about this when I started. I actually felt my heart stretch, because
I know what you
when
mean,
you get an
yeah.
athletic heart, when you it's built for. So if you think of your heart when you're doing high anaerobic intense efforts, so like lifting weights, you're looking for that pump to be a really hard, strong pump, but for maybe 40 seconds. So they walls get thick. It's a boom,
A strong beat,
boom,
strong blood flow.
boom. And that's the sort of pump that your heart does. And then as I was cycling, I was like, this thing is used to going boom, and I need it to go boom, 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 boom.
And just
So
for
it was
long
out of
periods
rhythm.
of times.
And when I started cycling, I could feel my heart starting to become more flexible and stretching. And I remember thinking, that's really, I don't know if it was perception or I did feel it, but it certainly felt like that. But I was like, oh, that's...
But how sore is it the first time you do it? You're like, I cannot breathe. You get that smoker's type of, like when you breathe in, it's so easy.
Well, I stopped in a hill. I was with Joe. Joe's a GP, with John and Keith, and they were pissing themselves laughing. I'm trying to go up this hill. I'm like, boys, I need to stop. My heart rate's at 175. I am about to fucking pass out.
Pop.
And Joe's like, what is your heart rate? 175. He's like, oh, you've got loads left. You'll be fine. I'm thinking, I'm fucking dying.
Would you
here.
do 220 beats, take away your age? So
Aye.
you're close to your max
I
heart
was
rate.
like, my max heart rate's about 190, 195. Like, I've actually had it in mid-event at 186. And start like 186 for peak power, and then been right on the pedals. So I've managed to get right to the like nearly max heart rate, and then keep the power on, and then manage to get back into
bring it
recovery.
down.
Which is fucking impressive, because I mean, I remember thinking to myself, my head's going to pop off.
That's how
I remember
felt.
just thinking, my head's just going to
That's
dip.
how I felt at that first High Rocks me and Scott done. Like, we were on the fourth lap, and I was like, I'm actually feeling I'm going to pass out here. Like
Yeah.
the pressure that's in my face just feels like it's going to pop. That was horrible. That
Did you taste blood? I always remember tasting blood on the time trial. I done the time trial. It was like that. It felt I'd done pennies in my mouth.
Like, I was going to say like some sort of coin or metal type feeling.
It's like tasting blood.
Yeah. But like that's a good. I wonder why. No, I guess it's because it's all about size and it's all about the look. It's not about endurance or performance, isn't it?
What for?
Like why the open bodybuilding category, if you look at that, like why they don't.
I mean, I think the thing being is like they're trying. They spend so much time putting lean tissue on that anything that would be cannibalising that or putting that at risk is.
But the weird thing is, like, it's the same argument on the flip side between the runner and the cycling athlete. It's like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym, so I don't want to get too bulky or too big. It's almost like there's the same argument. Oh, I don't want to do that much cardio in case I lose size. It's like,
but it's the intensity of the cardio, like
Exactly,
the intensity of the cardio and the duration. So if you're doing it for longer, and you become more efficient, and you would get the benefit.
It'll be interesting to see if any of them. Can you imagine Big Mikey, a hybrid athlete?
Oh, that'd be funny.
It'd be quite. I'd actually like to see that.
He would
Big
be
Mikey,
funny.
Big Adam, guys, hybrid athletes. What was it? Hybrid rock stars.
Hybrid rock stars with like the mullets, like,
moustaches and all that.
oh,
That's the thing to do. It's like but it's running. Running's making a big leap now. I feel.
is it?
Well, I feel it. I don't know if it's just what I'm
that's the world
consuming.
you're in.
Yeah. Sometimes I need to check myself. Getting a lot of cycling videos actually after the cycling paradise. But that's how I know. I think we're complete opposites because how you feel about running, I think is how I feel about cycling. I'm like,
Well, the thing, the interesting thing is, I don't think you've done enough cycling that
not to enjoy it.
it's like all this. The predominant amount of cycling you've done is booting your fucking self to death.
There's been the
Like,
easy rides.
it's
But
surprising.
I would argue, so same back at you with
I
the
know,
runs.
I know. Like this is what I mean is like, but it's the boredom factor that gets me. Is like I've never found a run like so. Say it's like, hey, look, we're going to go and do a really slow, like 10K run, and it can't be under an hour, and it needs to be this slow, and your heart rate needs to be this. I am bored out my fucking mind.
Play an audiobook.
It's
Do
shit.
some of your
Neil.
meditation
It's
stuff.
so fucking shit.
Do some business calls.
I'm like,
You
this
can hold
is
a talking
piss.
face. That's what it's like. The hardest one's that Concept 2 bike because you need to hold a
Aye,
pace.
anything indoors is
'cause
fucking
you're
brutal.
just staring at the same spot. I need to put videos on my phone. All sorts of like.
And this is what I mean is like I reckon if I had some need in terms of like if I had some need in terms of running, like if running was my method and I had some need, I would get through it. But the thing that I've got is I've got my golden chair. I'm like, why the fuck would I pick you? Like it's like going into your cupboard. You got your favourite outfit, and then it's like, oh, but you should wear that. And I'm like, that's shit.
Not touching that.
And you know you could wear it. You know it's like it's going to be fine. But I'm like, I don't want to wear that.
Yeah.
And then it's like I'd look even better than this.
What's some events then that you haven't done that pique your interest?
I don't know. The events that I like the look of are there's so Simon completed the Majorca 312, which is the loop of the Majorca island, or the island of Majorca, should I say, and it's 312 kilometres. So he did that.
Was that 250 miles?
Was it 195? I think.
Right.
So we done.
I think Fraser's dad done that as well. He's a cyclist.
Good. But the 312 is a really big one, and there's a version of that in Ibiza, which is the loop island of the island of Ibiza is 150k. And what I like about it, the things that make me interested in that sort of stuff is like what you've seen in Cycling Paradise. It's you can go away and see so much beauty. It's like the thing that I can't get my head around with running is. With cycling, you can go fast enough that you can see enough of the place and get a training effect, and you're not out there for days. But also, you're going slow enough that you can take it in like you wouldn't do if you were on a car or a motorbike. So it's this sweet spot between covering distance and training and the duration, where like running to me is like unless you're fucking Kipchoge, like you're not going to cover that distance in that time. So like you're not going to get that much change or that much of a environmental shift.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I tried running on trails. I tried running on the beach. I tried running on the track. I tried running in the treadmill. I tried running abroad. Not one time did I go, I fucking loved that.
I love
And
a
even the
track.
runners high.
Honestly, I love the track.
Yeah.
Like, I would do like all my training runs on that track. But I know because of the West Island Way, that's it's not translating at all. If anything,
With
like
the,
endurance.
I even when I was taking George to his football training. It was at the Airdrie track, and I ran round the track for the hour that he was training. I was bored out my tits.
It's like, it's a shit.
I was so, I just was I was like, I'm only doing this because there's nothing else to do, and it was like audiobooks and phone. Just nothing could. It was I wasn't getting, like, I couldn't get into it. And I would like to, because it would be, I think it is cool. Like, I'm not beating up on running at all. Like, I think running is a good thing to do. And I think people that run, I'm like, fair play, because I know from doing it, I know how hard it is.
Yeah.
And it's like fucking eggs. Like, I hate eggs. I struggle to even like people that like eggs. That's how much I hate eggs. I don't like the texture. I don't like the smell. I don't like the taste. I don't like the look of them. I don't like how they wobble.
Man, this inner bitch has you by the
The
balls.
fucking eggs are stinking. But there's a bit of me that was, I would love egg. I would love to, nutritionally, I'm like, they are really, really good. But I'm like,
action
no.
packed with the goodies.
They are, I'm like, nah.
Not for me.
They're not for me. And it's the same with running. Like, I get the whole value of it, but it's like something you're like, nah.
Is it just cycling predominantly then? Fitness events that you can see yourself? Do you think you'd ever do anything else?
Like, I would do if I ever took the notion for another Ironman, like, I would put the training in and like the cycling.
Do you think you will?
I wouldn't say no, but like, nothing's.
You should do like a full Ironman, because then that way you get the biggest advantage in something that you enjoy.
But that's, I mean, is like, it wouldn't make
Just do a cycling event.
It would be like, I'd be doing it for the sake of going, oh well, that's that done. But I didn't. It needs to ignite your fire, and it doesn't ignite my fire. Like, I think I would rather do something like a mad challenge.
I like the sunset to sunrise type thing.
There's more people that have completed the Ironman that have done a fucking 200 double to the right to the sun. Like, I would rather go and find something crazy to do.
Yeah.
So that it's like, it's fuck it. Like, you're going to go right in the hole. Like, you
should cycle the NC 500.
That's been done as well. Like, it's like, I would like to. Like, I would rather do an NC. I would rather do. Right, we're going to do the NC 500, or like the Land's End to John O'Groats. Let's cycle the entire length of the UK, or let's fucking ride across America. Like, that's way more difficult than any of this. Like, oh, do you want to run shite and like Ironman shite? Like, like, to me, it's not. It's
Piques your interest more.
It's the scariness of that. Like, there's nothing scary about running. You're just like, you're going to run.
The opposite of something. You're on a bike, you can cruise for a bit.
Yeah, that's
Obviously,
why
I felt like that, and I was like, "Fuck nah."
And then you hit Junto, and you're like, there's just no hope.
Aye, get me down that.
There's no hope, and like, even trying to. Another cool part of it people don't get is, like, you need to keep on top of this system that you've got that you need to fuel, and it's such a fucking it's an art. Because what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for the other, so you're trying to figure it yourself out.
Well, that's the one thing with running that's hard, because I carried 3 bananas, 3 gels, and I didn't have a running bottle, and I've not got one of those running water packs yet. I need to go buy one today. So I'd done this morning's run without fluid. I knew there was a shop on the way. If I really wanted, I was just going to nip in there, but it was raining and that anyway, so I knew I would be okay. But just carrying that, I was like, it was shaking and all that. I was like, this isn't the one.
Aye, running's like, a hat off to you, man. I mean, it's good, but I mean, I've never like, it's one of the things that I would have probably enjoyed that bite, like, if it caught me. But I'm fairly content that, like, I've gave it enough of a shot, and it's not like, if I never run again, I would not be disappointed at all.
So the last time you done some, like, a fitness thing that you were in the hole then, Spain, sunset to sunrise then?
And it was not only in the hole, it was the biggest hole. It was the biggest hole in terms of duration.
You thought you were in the hole, and then you went into the hole even more so, and then even more, and deeper and deeper.
But it was also, like, that was a weird hole in the sense that when you go into a hole, you're just suffering, and you don't, like, you can suffer at your own pace and your own time.
Yeah, to keep.
And then like you know it's going to come to an end at some point. But this hole was weird because I knew that the duration of this hole was at least 80 miles. Like the maximum duration of this hole was 80 miles, which is a fucking brutal. And then the minimum pace of this hole was about 35 kilometres an hour, 30 to 35 kilometres an hour. Because there was times that we were averaging 30 to 40 kilometres an hour. So not only did they need to maintain that speed and know that the duration of this hole could have been up to 80 miles, and my digestive system had fucking came to a halt, and I didn't know how I was going to fuel, and I knew that if I didn't get the electrolytes I was going to cramp, and I knew that if I didn't last at this speed, I was going to be in the hole for at least another 3 hours on top, because it would have took me that much longer not keeping that pace.
Yeah.
So it was a whole world of shit going on.
So what's the attraction with that then? Doing that? Like, what did you get out of that?
I actually felt I really enjoyed it. I really got a buzz off it because it was like whenever you go really long on an event, you need to manage yourself. Like you need to manage your effort, you need to manage your fuel, you need to manage your hydration, and unless you, like, anybody can be good for a short distance, but when you go long distance, and particularly being in that group of people were really good. And to be that good for that long, you needed to really play your cards well. So there was a mental strategy in terms of how you played your effort, and then there was a mental battle in terms of how you managed the hole, and then there was doing it over that distance and that duration. So it was one of those like, fuck me, this is never, like, it felt never ending at points, and then when you started to come back to life, I was like, fuck me, I'm alive again, man. And like the euphoria, like the lift that you were getting, because the digestive system had started to work, and the energy gels were starting to seep in, and everything that I hoped would have worked 20 miles ago had started to work, and I'm like, I'm alive. And I started,
you try and stay on top of it again, and you revisit it.
And even just the whole like lead up, because I mean, sometimes when you get to the end, you can start to fall apart because you know the end's near and you start to unravel. Like when we done the 85 mile, we done the ETAP Caledonia, I was still unwell, and I was out on the Saturday with the boys, and I was hacking up a lung. Like they were like, you sure you want to do this tomorrow? Like I was really, really unwell, and then I had to go to the pharmacy to get some like ibuprofen, max flu tablets. I was like, I'm in the shit. And then when I finished that, I was cycling up the hill and I was getting cramped. I was 85 miles. And I'm like, I've got 210. That's a fucking huge duration to go.
All your experiences start to play into it.
And it's like managing that effort. And it's like, well, what the point I was making at that Caledonia was I was getting close at the line. As I was getting close at the line, I was starting to unravel. So I'd exhausted whatever I'd had with me, and I was getting to the line, and I was just getting to the line. Where at 170, between 170 miles and 210 miles, I was getting better and better and better because everything was starting to work. So it was a very different finish, and the euphoria and the fucking buzz, and you know you're going to make it, and that euphoria was just feeding you, and you like your system's starting to work, and it's fucking 2:30 in the morning, and you've been riding your bike for 11:30 the previous morning, and you're like, it's fucking working, I'm back, man, I'm in the game.
It's me.
So it was great to go and put yourself to the sword to that level.
I think you should ask your audience what fitness thing you should do next.
That's your shite, man.
Nah, well, you've done that with your question box for tomorrow night.
Nah, keep it to bodybuilding and talk shit about the gym. What have you got coming up? West Highland Way. So that's obviously if you live past that.
West Highland Way that's not the next thing. Next thing is got an Athics with my mate Adam. We done one together recently, and we done well other than the Metcon. The Metcon we sort of messed up a bit. Just simple things like it was meant to be. We thought it was going to be 10 synchronized burpees, and we had to do double that, and then double that on the way back up. And mentally, it was like, right, we've not got this, and it was just a hard, like, you were in your heart rate's at 180. Like you're only working out for 16 minutes, but it's 16 minutes of your heart rate being at that high point. So the fitness wasn't there for that part. It's broken down into 3 parts. The strength bit, I thought we nailed it. I thought we were coming out with like first, second, or third place, which we were up until the afternoon athletes competed, and this wave of Welsh monsters must have came through, and just I think we ended up finishing 11th. Yeah, 11th in that part. And again, like really hit the numbers that we wanted to hit. Really happy. Had a good buzz from that. He's moving out to New York for 3 years, so there's one in Birmingham at the end of August. I'm training towards that just now. And again, this is another part that we done Athics with 4 weeks of training. Both of us, it was like, do you want to give this event a try?
It's like, I mean, it's that strange scenario. Is like, do you want to get round or do you want to actually get a result? Because I mean, it's that thing where,
we'll see when you do something for the first time. In a way, yes, there's benchmark times that you can aim for, but it's a bit irrelevant until you get benchmark times yourself, isn't it? So with this one, it's like, right, okay, there's the benchmark times. How well do you want to beat that?
Yeah,
and that's created the training program.
What would be the outcome that you want?
What I get, like, so the top 40 athletes get invited to the finals, like at the end of the year. So we are sitting 53rd for that performance there. I've got all the confidence that we can get in that top 40 mark.
Yeah.
Would quite like to. So it depends on the. We've got our benchmark time, so we got 16 minutes on that Metcon. The best time that's ever been done is 11 minutes. I'm working towards beating that best time. The strength numbers, it's one of them. It's like, to get stronger, it takes away other aspects of the race. The bit
It's a trade-off.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with where our squat and our overhead press is sitting. Maybe add an extra. I went for, so I'll probably aim for like a 155, 160 squat, and then aim for a 67.5, maybe 70 overhead press. But strength has been holding pretty well with all the endurance. That's my only worry, because I'm training for this, and then we get the West Island Way as well. So West Island Way it's more miles on your legs. So literally between now and that due date, it's adding the mileage up there. So this week I need to hit 45k of total running, which I've done as of today. No, sorry, I've got another 10k of running to do, or 7k. But I'll do that as track work as part of the Athics program. I'm just going to do one run a week that's covering off that longer distance until Athics is done.
So how many runs you do in a week?
I will do 3 runs, but then one of them would be a track and bike, and then another day where I do more Athics bike into a run. So try to. So that was another thing as well. I hammered that bike, coming off the bike and trying to run, like I cramped up like that, and I had a 500 mil. I would have. I had 500 milligrams of sodium, like for that, and I was still cramping up. So that was an experience.
Well, it's like the tubes of.
You finished the whole tube.
I had the whole tube on that ride.
They're 1,000, I'm sure.
I don't know, 8. I think it's 8 or 10 is in a tube. I had the whole tube.
10,000 milligrams of salt.
And I salted my food, like I had salt and vinegar crisps. And I had electrolyte chews as well. Like so, and I had 11 caffeine bullets.
Oof.
I don't know what they are, fucking 120 milligrams or something. So I had 6 caffeine gels, 5.
I never thought that part of the long endurance stuff would interest me, because my first experience with that was that 100k at the start of the year, and I got all my bags out and that, and I was like, it's kind of cool. But the more I'm doing, the longer stuff, it's like an eating competition at the same time.
It's also training your gut, because I mean that was the thing was.
That was the hard thing.
See,
the first time.
I had that wrap in Carlisle, and it was between Carlisle and fucking. It was basically 50 miles of. I'm trying to put the fuel in, and it's just not like nothing's firing up.
Oh really? Was it? What did you feel like you were going to wait here?
No, I just felt like, when you. No, I didn't feel like I needed the toilet. I felt like I'd ate the wrap, and the blood had went away from my digestive system and back into my legs. And as that was happening, nothing was digesting.
Right.
So it was like, when you feel like the food's there, and I'm putting the gels on top, and it just felt like, just imagine you had a solid block, and then you were just putting things, and it was just going on top rather than it going, it being absorbed. Now, that's where I was like, well, I'll drink So I'm sipping, and you know when you're like a kid and you're like, no, I'm not wanting anymore. And I just,
Especially the stickiness that's
oh,
like syrup.
I could have fucking, I could have took my bottle and stuck my bottle at the side of my frame. It was that sticky.
So fucking.
And the electrolytes, I got to Carlisle. All I wanted to drink was water because I was like, I'm fucking sick.
Just give me normal stuff.
I'm just like water and ice. It was the best water I've ever tasted. I was like, my God, this is good. And it's just that fresh, clean.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe, do you think sometimes you can overdo the electrolytes though? Like in the carb mixes?
I've never, like, I don't know if you could overdo them. Like, I know that
and I mean from a point of what your experience where you try to put stuff in and nothing's happening. Sometimes you just need some water to
I would
squash it down.
imagine you maybe could, but it was at the point that I felt that it was the solid food. The solid food had
Helped.
kind of blocked everything up, and not blocked everything up. I just didn't have enough time between eating the solid food and then back riding where the blood went back to my legs instead of in my stomach where it was digesting, and that just slowed everything up. But there was no any issues. Like I've personally never had any issues of like overloading or stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had like you get that kind of you get sick of it and you feel like the fucking thought is
I take
squishing
another
in
one of those fucking gels,
fucking like gloopy, syrupy gel. Then you're like, ugh. But I knew I was like
needed done.
I knew it's like I know the strategy and I know I need to keep doing it. It doesn't matter if I don't want to do it. Like I'll keep to the rhythm and even like the pick and mix. I didn't want even the pick it. I was just like I didn't want anything. I just was like, just leave me alone. But I knew that
Just let me cycle.
I was like, just let me pedal.
It's like you won't be able to cycle if you don't eat.
My fucking arse was on fire as well, man. Oh my God, my fucking.
Was that giving you extra watts?
Because I had to get out of the saddle. And just the thought of sitting back there, I'm like, this is like I'm sitting on a blowtorch. And I had the wee sachets, the chamois cream with me, and I just would put it on. And it was just to take the edge off it. And I knew it was purely for fucking morale because it was like it wasn't doing shit at this point. I was rubbed red raw, so.
Are you recovered from that?
Aye, it was fine. I think I rode the bike on Monday. Like it was like 2 days later. I was on the bike.
Actual scabs, like scabs on my like the underneath of my thighs just for the 4 days.
Wow,
was that?
I didn't have any of that. But it's probably just miles. That's what I'm saying is like you've done like the arse end of it. Like you've done the really hard end of it. That it's easy to go. Hey, like I can get why you're like I'd be happy to never see a bike again.
But to your point, like I really like because we done that in San Francisco. We when me and Jill got there, we decided to run to the bridge, and it was like I think it worked out like 14k, and we just done it at a slow pace, and I was like, this is really good. But the goodness that came from it is in a new city, sightseeing and doing fitness at the same time. We then also we ran to the bridge, which was 10k, and I was like, fuck, we need to get back. But we ended up hiring bikes and going a different way back. And the biking, like you said, it's quite a cool way to see the see new places and that sort of stuff.
Well, I mean, even like it's good. I mean, like I think even having Stacey out, she'd never been on a bike. We'd hired an e-bike for the hotel and cycled round the loch at the Caledonia.
Yep.
So we went round the loch and then up to the tea room. What a fantastic way to go and do a bit of fitness.
I think it's class.
And I had she had the battery assistance. I had my own bike, so I was like happy pedaling away. And I wasn't going like if I pedaled hard, I was like I'd have been way down the road. So it was like I was quite happy to go at the like just easy miles. But it would have been more beneficial than me being on an e-bike. But she could go on an e-bike and keep up to a decent clip. Where it was like that, well, we can do this together, and it's that cool sort of aspect that I think's good fun. But like if you don't know what that'd be. It'd be difficult to run fucking 50k. But is it like a couple and be like, oh, that's cool.
You enjoy that?
And saying that when we got back to the hotel, like Stacey,
she must have been done first time.
She went for dinner and came back. She's just fucking absolutely KO'd the bed. And I'm
there's no tolerance, so until you need.
And I'm like, and I'm sort of like, oh, this is cool. She's KO'd because it's just that you're not used to it.
Yeah,
but. I mean, it's anything fitness I think is good. It's like we're having a bit of bravado in the chat box and the stories where I'm, having a wee go at the skinny guys that think they're big. But I'm like overall, like, see if you're in the gym and you're getting strong and you're.
Well, like you said, it needs to ignite your fire. there is a part of me that's like, I don't understand why you wouldn't do anything that requires you lifting weights, getting strong tendons, strong joints. Like, okay, I understand the weight ratio if you're heavier, etc. But the you need to have that drive for it. And it is weird. It's definitely weird because I never thought I'd go back to running. I loved running in high school, and then I get into lifting weights, and I was like, I will never run again.
Yeah.
And I've only picked this up because Jill wanted to do a high rocks, and then I was like, oh, quite enjoy this.
Yeah.
Like, but that first run,
it's good if you can get that. I mean, because it's definitely going to make it much easier. I just never got that kind of thrill or joy from it.
Do you think George will ever get any cycling and that? As he sees you do it much.
He's been on the turbo a couple of times. He was doing really, really good numbers.
Would you like to see him?
Aye, I think he'd be good.
The bike.
In fact, like, he's got a new bike there. He's not rode it. I got him one for Christmas. He's not been on it. So, and I'm like, I don't force it. I'm like, look, man, if you're doing your thing and you enjoy it, you just do your thing. I'm not going to shove it down your throat. But like, he's not going to say, "Oh, I didn't have a bike, or I would have done it," because there's one there with the tag still on it,
still in the box.
But I'm like, I mean, it's like each to their own. Like, find whatever the thing is that you love. I mean, I just was really lucky that I found cycling, and it was like, this thing is like, you know, I know they get a lot of shit because they wear weird fucking spandex lycra clothes, and
so I think that's obviously that's the joke that everyone says, but I think there's an attitude thing with cyclists. So same with runners. I'm with you on both sides, but you see, like, you always see the worst of the videos online. It's like, gimp.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't see the good bit of it.
I know,
it's like anything that's viral is usually like,
it's like a wee fall off the bike and they're like,
and
then you see runners fall as well, and you're like, oh, you sure gimps, man, get up and run.
I know. But it's one of the things where you know, I don't know how much it's fucking hype, but I mean, it's interesting because we've done all three worlds. We've done the power and strength, we've done the sort of fitness, and you know, like we'll go out and do a workout, like, you know, cardio, and then the long endurance. And you're in these three very, very different worlds.
Yeah, they've all got the same.
And you're like, fucking hell. And like, even the cycling, I remember when I started talking about when I started cycling, I was like, this is a weird fucking cult, man. You need to shave your legs, you need to put cream on your arse, you need to wear all those like weird fucking shorts, and then you're cycling in your basement, fucking with a screen with other men on the internet. What the fuck
all your
is this?
Upstairs, you're like, this is weird.
I took it seriously. Like, I remember when I was determined to get fit. Like, I wasn't these old fucking dick Ironman guys. I'm going to turn them inside out. And I went and got a turbo and got a training plan. And the winter was horrible. We had I remember the first year I trained, the winter was stinking. I was itching to get out on the bike. I'd actually got myself a new bike, and I was like chapping at the bit, and the weather was so bad. Like, I would ride in anything, but it was like ice and snow and fucking. I was like, I can't even go out in that. I tried it, and I was like fucking Bambi on ice. And like, right, look, we need to maybe just
400 watts to go up the hill. Like,
you were just spinning.
I just spinning.
I remember me and Greg went through Glenfruin, and there was bits where the water would run across the road, and it's frozen
over.
Now we're fucking. I'm like, we are fucking wrapped up. And I remember saying to Greg, like, do you think we can ride across this? And we tried a few of them, and it was like, we were like, literally, we were going to need to walk across this. And it was that whole thing. I think we maybe need to call this. But the cool thing, like, when we cycled out in the west, is it's interesting because when you go to the coast roads don't freeze because the salt water and the salt that's in the air for the water stops the roads from freezing that otherwise would freeze inland.
Yep.
So like the Johnson Wheelers has got a coastal loop, which is they ride on that road. And it's a shame because it's fucking, like, as a motorist, I totally get it. Like, I totally get cycling's a pain in the bollocks when you're riding behind them. And that's why I'm always trying to, like, I always try and be as good with cars.
That's one thing I noticed too, coming out with you guys, that you've got the awareness of someone who drives a car and understands the frustrations of a car.
It's like you try and wave them by, and you try and be, you try and be as considerate as you can, and like, don't be they're doing their bit, no fucking running you over. So the least thing you can do is like just try and be decent to them.
What do you make it when you do big groups and that sort of stuff?
The big groups, like, I get the whole idea because I know what it's like with the groups, and I think if you've got a good group, they should do well, because if you've ever seen the big groups, I don't
It's
agree
like
with.
two,
Get them two abreast and get a short, tight group, so that the car needs to overtake a short group rather than a big long line of yous. Because if you've got a line of yous that's fucking 50 metres long, that's
It's
way
not
harder
happening.
for a car to overtake than two of yous. It's 20 metres long. So get it tight, be aware of the road, be fair to the motorist. Like, it's wee daft things. Like, see when you come to like a set of traffic lights, wave the cars through. Or say you come to like a contraflow and the traffic lights, it's like we've shut it down to one road. Fucking pull in the side, let the cars go by. Like, they will literally be like, "Oh, they boys are all right."
2 seconds,
And it's like, don't you're fuck, like, just get out of their way. Like, just get out
Or
of their
you will
way.
get
Like,
knocked
you know,
down.
they can go quick, they can go past you. And I've always been really lucky. Like, I've always, like, I see there's a lot of people. There is fucking dickhead motorists.
But you would get annoyed at them.
They get
being in a
annoyed at other
car.
motorists.
Aye,
Like,
I was
they would
gonna
get annoyed
say,
at anybody.
yeah.
It doesn't, like, it's not necessarily a cyclist thing.
I never really understood why cyclists came into the road after being out on the road bike and realising how bad the drains are here. And that's another thing actually we should say about Portugal. The roads are amazing.
Aye, silky
Drains,
smooth.
everything.
You can
so smooth.
You can ride over stuff in Portugal you couldn't ride over here, because if you ride on a bump
Tyres
or
gone,
you're literally fucking shaking the fillings out your teeth. They just, and even like, that's the thing is like, even like people go. I remember we got into a bit of a fucking altercation with a guy up in Inverness, and he's like, "There's a fucking cycle track there," and I'm like, "Listen, mate, have you ever been on a cycle track?"
Aye.
I says, "We're doing 20, 22 mile an hour here, and you've got Jean
Kids,
with her fucking
aye.
headphones on, with her dog lead right across there," and it's like, this is a cycle track for bikes, but we're not going to tell everybody to get off it, and we're on road bikes, and it's like, look, we're going to keep out the way. But he was just going off his tits that it's like, well, there's a cycle track. Like, mate, I get it, I totally get it, but like,
Chill.
it's just not as fucking straightforward as you think. Having ridden the cycle tracks and ridden the roads is a way better alternative than this fucking cycle track, because it can be fucking terrifying.
Well, that road I'm running this morning, that's a cycle path. It's meant to be the cycle loop that takes you to Edinburgh. And no chance, like, getting.
Can you imagine the speeds
I
that we
know,
get up
I
to
know.
on a road bike? And you're like,
I know there's some straights in that, but even at that, like dog walkers, the guys that go fishing and all that sort of
you
stuff.
just can't go fast, and that's the thing, is that's the frustration, and you don't want to. The worst thing you want is hitting a pedestrian or like another cyclist that's and especially if they've not got the awareness. There's a lot of people fucking about on their phone when they're riding the bike or the road, and you go, that's the last thing you want.
Unless you're Thomas, you can film an intro to a YouTube video. You can script a vlog out if you wanted. They can interview you. Oh well, no riding with any hands in the bike. 25 mile an hour uphill.
I was
No
funny.
hands.
I seen his video, the last one that he released, and he was in Madeira.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, if you've got any words to say them now, and then it cuts to Thomas fucking going up the hill with no hands, like fucking messaging
He's texting.
at like 17%. And I'm like,
That's what it was like for that whole way up Junto. He was like, "You doing all right?" I said, "Please shut up, man."
aye, stop
He even
fucking-
says that. He's like, "He's probably like you, dick."
aye, stop fucking talking to me.
Nah, good experience though. Good experience overall.
Well, would you recommend it to?
I think like it's a great, like what we were saying is you need to find something that you enjoy, and the gym's great, right? So there has to be this foundational layer where you work out at least once a week, full body resistance training, hit every muscle group, every movement part, and that'll keep you good. But find stuff that genuinely you're like, man, that's fucking good. I really enjoyed that, and like, you can get that in the gym, but that, from my experience and where I'm at the point in my life, that evolves into other places. It could be bodybuilding for people, but I think with the age of social media, I think for a lot of guys like my generation and that sort of stuff growing up, social media, like you only seen the bodybuilders. So we had this, we gravitated towards, right, okay, let's get big, let's do that size. But there is this movement of like more endurance type style, running, long distance running, 5Ks, 10Ks, but then the flip side, cycling, Ironmans, could just be the
Ironmans are
cycling
great
stuff.
fun. Like, I would recommend, like, if you've
I must admit, it's the bit in my brain that's like, you do not know how to swim, you'll struggle with that part.
everybody does that,
and
So
you need to face
go
it.
and get a coach, start swimming in the pool.
But that's where I'm going with that. Like, I think
I've done the whole swimming with the fins, swimming with the, there's like hand kind of like plastic covers that go on
coops.
to be able to. The idea is that you need to enter the water and it's going to get your hand in that position. Buoyancy shorts, doing particular, like you need to work on your breathing. So that you break it down. The swimming's all technique, right? So it's about it's about learning that technique, and then once you do it, like it's the least bit you need to worry about.
Yeah.
The only bit you need to worry about is you need to start kicking your legs as you come out of the water, because all your blood is like horizontal, and as you come out of the water and go vertical,
like that,
you start to go all jelly legged. So that's the only thing you need to consider.
But yeah, the point is, like, you need to start. You need to try something, and I think that's probably the advice I'd give to anyone. Like, cycling has its benefits, running has its benefits, swimming has its benefits. Even the whole High Rocks hype or CrossFit, like, they all have their communities, their crowd, and I think there's always the weirdness, or there's always the bit you can poke fun at, but it doesn't define the whole community side of things. It's just something you have a bit
young people are
boisterous
just
with.
too much a pussy nowadays. That they're like so weak and like it's like don't call me names, don't
Oh,
call my
right.
group names. Like, come on, man.
I don't know. I think it's also, there's a part of it, like, let's say I click on a video and it's someone slagging High Rocks, and then the next video I get met with the same thing, and the next and the next. I think people just get consumed where it's like, I think there is a part where people can't take a bit of banter, a bit of feedback, a bit of light-hearted back and forth. But then there is a part where so many people point fingers, then you think that's what everyone's opinion is. So you then think to yourself, well, that's just the haters, or that pessimistic mindset, or the, what's the word? People often brag that it's this is just how I am.
Cynic.
Aye, cynical. Being cynical is like, that becomes a thing as well. I see that a lot.
Maybe that's just your algorithm. Man.
I know, but sometimes you see that with coaches. It's like, it's
a cop out.
Aye, it is. It's an absolute
cop-out.
cop out. It's like, nah, you're just being negatively biased. Like, every piece of content that's going out is going towards attacking a certain brand or a certain way of lifting. You're going to get that with anything. So if you're getting that just now, it's like, that is your algorithm. So, like, change the stuff that you're consuming. You know what I mean?
So what's next year?
So Athex end of the year, end of August, and then West Island Way not too long after it. But we need to get a team together for West Island Way, so we've got the checkpoints. So
I'll come to the early one, because I'm not like when you die.
I'll come. How far do you think I'll get before I die?
50 miles.
I think 50 miles.
Aye. Yeah, good. Probably 60. I reckon you'll get to 60.
Because I'm training. I'll get an
you
extra
get to
10
60,
miles.
but 160 and you're fucking in the hole. Like, I believe you'll finish it. I believe that you would see it through.
24, like, after
24
seeing, like, see
hours.
the West Island Way, obviously never consumed that content as well, and seeing the people crossing the
24
line, I
hours
was
to
like,
the West Island Way, you are fucked.
well, that's it. I'm trying to run at the pace that you need to run at, and all that sort of stuff. So that's the idea behind the training, and then carrying the fuel, and playing about with different stuff.
But even fueling for 24 hours, constantly fueling for 24 hours is...
Yeah, hard going.
Yeah.
So, and then that's it for this year. I actually fancy one of those backyard ultra marathons. You heard what they are? So it's that 4.2 mile loop every hour on the hour.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, it's the whole idea. I don't know why
Knockout.
this is that. No, it's like you get a DNF, and there's only one person that wins it. And I like the idea of going, how far can I go when I know there's others that I'm competing against? Because that isn't it, there's an endurance aspect, but it's not who can run the fastest. It's the strategy of the fueling, what you're doing where you're at your base camp. So you run the loop and you're at the same hot spot, and there is a part of, like, you go to the start line, which is also the finish line, and there's the psychological part that you're just looking around and comparing yourself to other people. I like that idea. You see what the boys had done? So the one in New Zealand, they just broke the world record. They ran for 5 days. And the last two people they covered 408 miles every single hour running.
Wow.
That is insane. And the guy that finished second, he just collapsed. He basically took himself to the end point.
Aye.
An amazing advert for running socks, though, because they're like, oh, how's your feet? Surely feet's in blisters. And I seen the video of this morning. The guy's got those toe socks that look super weird. And they're like, oh, the reveal, and he takes the toe socks off. Look completely normal. And I was like, what an amazing marketing ad that is right there.
Yeah.
Like surely the sales for that will go through the roof. But there's one in Scotland while we're away in 2 weeks, and I think there might be another one later in the year.
Just go for it, man. See what you can do.
4.2 miles. So it's
What's that in K? 8K?
Is it 6.8?
Maybe it is 6.8.
Aye, 6.8. Whatever it is, it's like 6.8. It's called the backyard ultra. And yeah, I'd actually quite like to do it with people I know, because then there's the whole like, let's get in about this type of thing. But I think there's something to scratch that competitive itch.
You still need to do your 100-mile cycle.
Aye,
100 miles.
I've done that though.
No,
No,
100
that wasn't a
mile.
100-mile, was it? Where does 100 miles take you?
You can do a loop. It's 161k.
What's the 100-mile from here? Have you done that?
Well, Carlisle. Carlisle to Edinburgh was 100 miles.
Is it?
I rode 210, so I rode Edinburgh to Livingston, Livingston to Carlisle, Carlisle back to Edinburgh.
Huh.
But you could do like coast to coast. You could do like, there's a ride for here up to Aberfoyle and back.
Yeah.
You could fucking do like,
And then,
you could do 2 50-mile loops. I do an endurance loop that's my winter loop that's 80 miles. So you just stick 20 on the top of that. And then
Just
that's a
sticking
good
to
way
that.
testing the whole is go and do a loop and then you are in and around where you can quit.
yeah.
So you like do like a 5-mile loop at your house and it's right there
Aye,
and you can crack at any point.
I like it. Maybe that'll be one I do.
A good target for that, 6 hours. You can do 100 miles in 6 hours. That's considered quite good.
I'll train for that one then. I'll get stuck in it though. I'll train for that one.
It's been good having you on.
No, it's been good. It's good. So good fitness talk there. Need to get you signed up to something though.
I know.
Should do. When's the Mallorca one?
Mallorca's been, so that was April. The weekend that we were doing in Caledonia, the Inverness,
Yeah.
Loch Ness, ETAP, that's the weekend of the 312.
Nice.
But Greg and Parker fancy doing the Ibiza loop.
That'll be cool.
Just get the bikes in the bike box, jump over to Ibiza for the weekend and go and ride the bikes.
And also not as part of race.
They don't have a race as far as I know. I think they've
Or is
got
it just like
there's
clubs? and that?
like there's a company that does like these sort of cycling events where they'll host an event and it's Pete Tong and the after party and bring your wife and then go to the spa and all that shit. It was like, fuck that, man.
I just want to ride
I
my
just want to
bike.
get my bike, unpack it, ride like the wind,
Send
stop at a cafe, get a coffee, ride all the way back, do that for a couple of days and then head home. But it's cool. It's cool.
It was
It's
a
a
good
cool
experience.
marketing, like, but it's a good business model where it's like, the general idea of if you want to do a family holiday, stroke cycling holiday, is you go somewhere that you can cycle. You go there with the family, and you go out really early in the morning. You get your 3, 4, 5 hours.
Yeah.
You come back and you spend the day with the family.
Nah, it's cool.
So they are taking that to the next level and making it a bit more like lifestyle and a bit
Yep.
more kind of upmarket.
I follow a few like fitness news pages, and that's the big thing that's popping off in America just now is like fitness holidays, fitness retreats, or fitness training camps.
Yeah.
They're starting to grow a wee bit more and more.
Training camps,
Which
are
I think this is to do with people making the shift from going away
Dashed.
drinking holidays. I think it's good. It's good to see.
just to the all inclusive. It's like you do bike hire.
Aye, all inclusive fitness hire. Right?
They do running gear.
Yeah, you got trainers.
Can you bikes you
Cleats.
got?
Nah, they're much more fun. It's a better lifestyle. So
I'm infinitely. As I said, I don't know about you, but it's one of the best things I've ever done.
it's
Is
been brilliant.
trying all the different sports.
Yep.
And even just to understand, like the things that I'd never took part in, and go like understand what's involved. You never knew it, and you found respect for them.
Yeah.
Even if it's weird and culty like High Rocks.
I've not done one since. I'm doing there's the new hybrid games that are coming to Glasgow.
You
So
just a bitch and heat, just jumping on
that was
anything
with
new.
Scott. Like me and Scott are doing that. It's nothing crazy. It's like High Rocks type style, but it's 500 meters of running. Station.
Yeah, this is just a fucking sports day. This
it
is just a
It
kid's
genuinely
sports
is.
day.
It's a big PE class, and it's who can compete to be the best PE athlete. That's what it is.
That's it.
And I'm all here for it because I loved PE in high school. I miss it.
It's sports day. That's it.
I'm surprised. How come you didn't go to like was there no parents' sports day at George's school of that.
Oh, they've definitely done it.
You should get in about that.
100%.
That's because Scott, he was telling me about it. He says, I'm going there, and I was saying to the mums and dads, he's like, I'm going to fuck yous all up.
He's trying to get their heads in the trash.
He's getting their heads, like, none of them fucking sprinted since they left school themselves. I like sports days are fun. Getting about it.
Brilliant.
Well, thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. It's good getting you on. Been a long time coming.
Yeah.
And well done for making it through Portugal.
Appreciate it.
It was an experience. The chocolate milk being the highlight. So we hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Mount Mindset. We had Coach Crossar back in the hot seat to cover off his adventure in Portugal. Spoke what it's like taking decisions to move into the fitness world, what it's like being in the big black holes, and how to get through it and why it plays a bigger part in your life. Fitness isn't just fitness because it stops there. It seeps into your mentality. It seeps into physically how you feel and also what you eat, and makes up a huge part of your life, and how that influences other people, and the decisions that you can make or break the direction that you take in life, not just for you but for your loved ones. So be the best all the time. Take those steps, take the chance, and go and try something new, because something's going to ignite your fire, and it might be a strange, weird thing like running. And if it is, then go for it. Go chase down that feeling, go chase down that buzz, because it's infinitely better than, doing chasers down the pub. So get in there, go try it. There's plenty of that about, and I hope what you can take away from today is the sort of community side of it, that there's a whole movement of people that are trying out these new things, and you don't need to be good at them. Just start, and wherever fitness is for you, that's your start line. Improve and build in it, because when you do, you can make those physical changes, but the biggest shift is the shift in your mind, because you become more resilient, more confident, and much happier with the results that you can get in life, because you've made that decision to push. So whatever that is for you, make the start, go give it a go, and go find something that you love. So we hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I've got a visualization course if you want to go and find out how to visualize properly. What is the secret to visualization? Why does visualization fail for a lot of people? What's the missing piece that they have not been able to find? Or have you visualized and just been really frustrated with how it flickers, that you get some results but not the constant results? So if you're interested in finding out how to do it, check out the show notes and hit the link in there. We will see my visualization course, and you can start today, whether that's a visualization of your new fitness campaign, a new business, or you want to take your life in a new direction. Go check it out. But from me this week, that's a wrap.